Chapter 1974. Returning to hometown following that incident, the Mei family ceased their persistent efforts. No longer were they bothered by unwanted visitors. As for the Liu family, stripped of the Mei family's backing, they no longer posed a threat. Several days later, during a gathering of young ladies from affluent families in An's province, third Miss Liu had a near-fatal accident when she fell into the water. Miraculously rescued, she suffered severe shock and hypothermia, requiring extended bed rest for recovery. The uncertainty surrounding her recuperation cast a shadow over her future. Xianxia couldn't help but feel relieved that she hadn't attended the gathering herself, as her absence would have raised suspicions. In late January, a letter arrived from Shaoding village. Tao Tao and Zhao Shu's wedding date had been set for the 8th of March. Zhao Shu remained occupied with business matters in Jiangnan. After finalizing arrangements for the year, he would journey to Yuzhong, accompanied by relatives and elders from within a 500-meter radius of Heshan County. Upon arrival, they would celebrate with a grand wedding for Zhao Shu and Tao Tao. With Zhao Shu's willingness to spare no expense, a sizable contingent of relatives was expected to attend, eager to partake in the festivities. Thanks to his generosity, accommodations and provisions for the journey would be arranged without hesitation. Who wouldn't seize the opportunity to join such a joyous occasion? Especially his cousins and uncles were eager to participate in the festivities. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan shared in their joy for the couple. With the wedding plans settled, anticipation filled the air. As Xiao Yunduan was restricted to official duties, Xiao Xian planned to return around the 12th of February, accompanied by Anan. Choosing a later departure date would ensure warmer weather and allow Anan to grow a little, providing Xiao Xian with greater peace of mind. Although Xiao Xian felt she could depart immediately if not for Anan's welfare, she understood the importance of waiting. Each day brought changes in the child's development, making him more resilient with time. Preparations commenced as they packed their belongings and gathered gifts for the occasion. The entourage accompanying them also finalized their list of attendees. Lixia and the others naturally joined, while Sun Qian was entrusted with leading 26 subordinates to provide security. On February 11th, Xiao Xian and their party embarked on their journey. Departing from An's prefecture city at dawn, they maintained a low profile, attracting little attention. Unbeknownst to many, Xiao Xian was en route to her hometown. That was Xiao Yunduan's intention as well. He would feel more assured if their journey remained discreet. Furthermore, while Xiao Xian eagerly anticipated returning home, she also worried about Xiao Yunduan. In recent days, she had nagged at him incessantly. At night, she was different, her passion fiery yet gentle to the core. She seemed to want to envelop him completely. And he was more than willing to comply. However, amidst his happiness, a pang of heartache tugged at him. He couldn't help but wonder how many promises her tender words concealed. Yet having her by his side was enough. He couldn't bear to see her sad. Keeping a low profile was imperative. It was best if no one knew they had left An's prefecture city. 5 days later, they arrived in Yuzhong province. As the wagon passed through the gates, Xiao Xian lifted the curtain, gazing outside. The sights grew increasingly familiar, filling her with happiness. Finally, they were home. Given the size of the Yuezheng family, Xiao Xian headed directly there upon arrival. Chapter 1975. Arriving at Yuzhong, Xiao Xian also penned a letter to First Madam while on the journey home. First Madam anticipated her arrival in a couple of days, eagerly awaiting her return. Therefore, as soon as they arrived at the gates of the Yuezheng family, the gatekeeper recognized Xiao Xian and hurried in to report the news. A few moments later, First Madam emerged, accompanied by her eldest daughter-in-law and the housekeeper's wife. Xiao Xian stepped out of the carriage and saw First Madam, her heart warmed by the sight, and a bright smile lit up her face. "Hey, elder aunt. Ah Xian. You're truly back." That's right. It's been a rushed journey. I've missed you all." Xiao Xian hastened forward and linked arms with First Madam. Everyone exchanged smiles and greetings. Li Jing expressed some words of concern for Xiao Xian, his gaze softening upon seeing the baby in the nanny's arms. "So this is Anan? Indeed, she carries the features of both you and Lord Xiao." She's quite handsome and utterly charming." Like any mother, Xiao Xian beamed with joy hearing her son praised, even more so than herself. With a smile, she responded, "Babies are so pure and delicate in their youth, with eyes so dark and bright. Indeed, she's quite lovable." She scooped Anan into her arms and greeted First Madam with a wave of her hand. Anan showed no fear of strangers. Babbling as he looked at First Madam, his beautiful black eyes reflected both joy and confusion. First Madam adored him instantly. She pinched his little cheeks and playfully teased him with her delicate hands. When she tried to reach for him, Anan responded eagerly, reaching out with open arms, eliciting laughter from everyone. With a smile, First Madam took him into her arms and led the way into the courtyard with Xiao Xian and the others. Since Xiao Xian and the others returned unexpectedly, First Madam hadn't prepared a formal banquet. They were family, so there was no need for such formality. Instead, she instructed the kitchen to prepare a few extra dishes that Xiao Xian liked for dinner and arranged for someone to prepare some minced meat porridge for Anan. After a while, Xiao Xian and First Madam found themselves engaged in conversation in the parlor. First Madam's eldest daughter-in-law attended to the household tasks and made arrangements for Xiao Xian's entourage. Lixia and the others, weary from the journey, retired to rest. Since Xiao Xian was with First Madam, they were excused from serving her directly. Anan, on the other hand, may have been sleeping during the journey, but now, in this new environment, everything fascinated him. He was so enthralled that sleep eluded him entirely. The nanny and others found it difficult to rest as well, so they brought him to play on the small bed behind the jade cabinet. First Madam's welcoming gift for Anan was a gold longevity lock adorned with gemstones. It featured various auspicious motifs symbolizing wealth and longevity, and its design was exquisite. The bright yellow jade was set with rubies, sapphires, emeralds, and jades, creating a sparkling and colorful luxury that children adored. Anan held onto it tightly, playing with it happily. With Anan occupied in First Madam's room, Xiao Xian felt at ease. She couldn't help but share every detail of their reunion with First Madam. And even now, Xiao Yunduan continued to keep his promise, wholeheartedly treating Xiao Xian with care. First Madam was genuinely happy for her. Chapter 1976, Small Gathering. First Madam agreed that Xiao Xian was lucky to have Lord Xiao by her side. He was indeed a good man. As for the uncertainties of the future, First Madam acknowledged that no one could predict with certainty. She hoped Xiao Xian would always be fine, but she couldn't ignore the potential flaws in men's character. There were too many variables to consider. Although Xiao Yunduan was currently only a prefect, who knew what the future held? What if he ascended to a higher position in the government? However, whenever Xiao Xian spoke about Xiao Yunduan, her demeanor softened, and First Madam couldn't bring herself to dampen her spirits. Instead, she chose to praise Xiao Xian's good fortune. With Anan, the firstborn son of the primary wife, and a substantial estate with vast wealth, Xiao Xian was indeed blessed. A woman had her son to support her and her wealth to sustain her. As for her husband, if he proved reliable, she would stand by him. If not, she would be prepared to part ways. In case of any adversity in the future, Xiao Xian could draw strength from the wisdom shared during their conversation today. Xiao Xian didn't fully grasp First Madam's implications, but she listened attentively. Thoughts of Anan filled her with joy. Taking advantage of the discussion about Tao Tao's family, Xiao Xian seized the moment to seek advice from First Madam. Tao Tao was marrying into the affluent Zhao family from Jiangnan, a milieu Xiao Xian had never encountered before. She felt unequipped to handle the intricacies of such a prominent family, let alone navigate the dynamics with her mother-in-law, Miss Fang, and her two sisters-in-law. This was precisely why she had returned home earlier than planned. There were numerous decisions awaiting her attention regarding household arrangements and preparations. Moreover, with many guests expected from the Zhao family, the Xiao family couldn't afford to be negligent. They had to ensure Tao Tao's standing was impeccable, preventing anyone in the Zhao family from looking down on her. Despite Xiao Yunduan holding the position of prefect in An's province, the Xiao family lacked the same social standing and wealth as the Zhao family. Xiao Yunduan's authority didn't carry the same weight in the south as it did in the remote An's province, making it difficult to assert influence over the Zhao family. Thus, it was imperative for the Zhao family to witness the Xiao family's strength firsthand to earn their respect. First Madam had been deeply involved in wedding preparations, so she was well versed in every detail of the ceremony. Qiao Xian eagerly shared all she knew with her. Their conversation flowed joyously, and even as dinner was served, they found themselves reluctant to end their discussion. Noticing that most of the 12 sumptuous dishes laid out before her were her favorites, Qiao Xian couldn't help but feel touched. With a grateful smile, she looked up at First Madam and playfully remarked, "Elder Aunt, you spoil me so much. You remembered all my favorites." First Madam chuckled heartily. "I have a good memory, you know. You're still young. How can you be considered old?" Their laughter filled the air as they savored their meal together. First Madam showed great concern for Qiao Xian's well-being, especially considering her exhausting journey. As night fell, Anan became restless, demanding his mother's attention. Recognizing Qiao Xian's fatigue, First Madam arranged for her to retire to bed. Before bidding her goodnight, First Madam reassured Qiao Xian, urging her not to fret about the affairs of the province and to feel at ease. She promised that even if Qiao Xian needed anything in the middle of the night or if Anan grew hungry, the servants would be at her beck and call. She had even instructed the kitchen to prepare pigeon porridge in a casserole on the small stove, a comforting thought for Qiao Xian. Grateful for First Madam's thoughtfulness, Qiao Xian nodded with a warm smile, feeling deeply touched by her kindness. Chapter 1977. Returning to Xiaoding village the following day, Qiao Xian and her companions prepared to depart. First Madam entrusted Auntie Hua, her trusted confidant, to accompany Qiao Xian and offer assistance. Auntie Hua was a pillar of strength, possessing a wealth of experience and a calm, meticulous demeanor. With her by Qiao Xian's side, everything would proceed smoothly. As Tao Tao's wedding approached, guests from the Yuezheng family would soon arrive to extend their congratulations. First Madam informed Qiao Xian that she intended to join them a few days in advance. Expressing her gratitude, Qiao Xian smiled and thanked First Madam sincerely. Taking Qiao Xian's hands in hers, First Madam returned the smile and spoke warmly, "No need for such formality with me. It's because of your understanding that I feel comfortable offering my help. I'm just glad you don't see me as meddling." Indeed, few would welcome interference in such significant matters as marriage. It was a testament to the trust and camaraderie between them that First Madam felt comfortable lending Auntie Hua's assistance. Understanding First Madam's sentiment, Qiao Xian reassured her with a smile, "You're not an outsider to me, and I appreciate your support. My mother-in-law will undoubtedly be grateful to you, just as I am." First Madam nodded with a smile, then scooped Anan into her arms, gently pinching his cheeks and playing with him. She watched as mother and daughter climbed into the carriage, surrounded by the bustling crowd. After a day of travel, they finally arrived back in Xiaoding village by evening. Miss Fang had been eagerly anticipating their return every day, and her joy knew no bounds now that her dreams had come true. Tao Tao couldn't contain her excitement as she enveloped Qiao Xian in a tight embrace, laughing joyfully. Ms. Fang greeted Qiao Xian warmly, her eyes brimming with happiness as she inquired about Xiao Yunduan. Anan's presence only added to her delight, and she couldn't help but smile. Xiao Delong, Ms. Su, Xiao Sanlang, Yang Xiaoni, and the others all shared in the jubilation. They surrounded Qiao Xian, exchanging greetings and well wishes. Even Chunyu and the seasoned servants couldn't contain their happiness. Word had spread throughout the village that Qiao Xian had returned with her children. The sight of several carriages and a retinue of dozens of servants made quite the impression. It was a testament to the prosperity of their family. Indeed, as Xiao Lulang had suggested, An's province seemed to be a land of opportunity. If it were not so, Lord Xiao wouldn't have attained such wealth, and Madame Xiao's return wouldn't have been so grandiose. Suddenly, the first section of the Xiao family's courtyard was bustling with activity as many people gathered there. The yard became alive with chatter and laughter, everyone smiling and greeting Qiao Xian warmly. Anan garnered particular attention, with everyone marveling at his adorable appearance and apparent intelligence. He was truly the pride of the Xiao family. After a while, Ms. Fang and her daughter-in-law, seeing that Xianxia and her grandson were tired from the journey, suggested that they retire to rest. They bid farewell, promising to return the next morning, and one by one, the guests departed. With the courtyard gate closed, tranquility finally returned to the house. The servants who had accompanied them were duly settled, and preparations for dinner were underway. A table was set in the main room, awaiting their arrival. Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni, along with the household staff, were busy in the kitchen. They prepared a feast fit for the occasion, including stewed chicken with mushrooms, braised duck, and steamed mandarin fish fresh from the backyard pond. Additionally, they prepared steamed sausages, stir-fried radishes and garlic shoots, scrambled eggs with scallions, sautéed wolfberry shoots, and stir-fried lettuce with garlic, filling the air with the aroma of garlic and fresh vegetables. Chapter 1978. Home life. Although they were all simple home-cooked dishes, their aroma filled the room, evoking a sense of warmth and closeness. Seeing the eager expression on Xiaoxian's face, Ms. Fang couldn't help but smile. You must be exhausted from the journey. Dig into. These dishes are just like the ones you used to enjoy at home. Xiaoxian nodded enthusiastically. Absolutely. I've been craving home-cooked meals for so long. Ms. Fang chuckled. There's nothing like home-cooked food, isn't it? I'll have your sister-in-law cook for you every day. Yang Xiaoni, entering with the last dish, chimed in. Mother, fifth sister-in-law's cooking is truly exceptional. I've even asked her to cook for me. I'm just here to assist and enjoy the food. Just the thought of it makes my mouth water. Ms. Fang scolded Yang Xiaoni jokingly. Stop your chatter. Your fifth sister-in-law is the lady of the house. She shouldn't be cooking for you. We have plenty of servants here, and you can't even order them around. Stop with this nonsense. Yang Xiaoni smiled sheepishly. Oops, my mistake. Fifth sister-in-law, I apologize. Please don't be mad at me. I really didn't mean anything by it. Truly. Xiaoxian chuckled. No need to worry, third sister-in-law. We're family after all. Then she turned to Ms. Fang with a warm smile. Mom, there's no need to be so formal with me. Cooking at home is a pleasure. I'd love to prepare a meal for you. Don't overexert yourself, dear. We're family, no need for formalities. Let's sit down and eat before the food gets cold. With everyone's agreement, they gathered around the table for dinner. The atmosphere was relaxed and familial, filled with lively conversation and familial warmth. It was a true homecoming experience. After dinner, Anan sought comfort in Xiaoxian's arms again, prompting Ms. Fang to express concern. She arranged for hot water for Xiaoxian and her son to wash up and encouraged them to rest for the night. The yard where Xiaoxian and Xiao Yinduan used to reside remained intact. It was secured when they were away, and it received monthly cleaning and maintenance. Anticipating Xiaoxian and her son's return, Ms. Fang instructed Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao to tidy up daily, ensuring the windows were open for ventilation and dust was wiped away. Pots of lively flowers adorned the yard, giving it a vibrant ambience despite their absence. Entering the yard with Anan, the nanny, Lixia, and Lixia, Xiaoxian found everything orderly, evoking a comforting warmth within her heart. Home was home because of this irreplaceable sense of belonging. The night passed sweetly and peacefully. The next morning, after Xiaoxian refreshed herself and exchanged greetings with Ms. Fang and the others, she led Anan, Lixia, Lixia, and Tao Tao to the backyard to harvest fruits. The air was crisp, carrying a hint of morning chill, while the garden exuded life and freshness. The sight of lush greenery brought joy to their hearts. The fruit trees had noticeably flourished, their thick and tall trunks adorned with luxuriant branches and leaves. Chapter 1979. Warmth. At this time of year, peach blossoms and pear blossoms were on the verge of blooming. Some branches basked in the sunlight, showcasing their beautiful and delicate buds. Others had already sprouted, standing out amidst the evergreen fruit trees. The garden was adorned with various fruits. Peaches and oranges still hung from some trees, their soft white skin blushing pink as they ripened, emitting a sweet fragrance that filled the air. The plump, Tangerine-like oranges were particularly eye-catching. Xiao Xian plucked one and handed it to Anan, who eagerly accepted it with both hands and began nibbling, her adorable frown eliciting laughter from everyone. Amidst the bounty were dragon fruits, papayas, and pineapple honey, all ripe and ready for harvest. Xiao Xian filled her basket with the abundant produce. Tao Tao smiled, remarking on the garden's abundance. We have so many fruits that we can't possibly finish them all in a year. We also have dates, crisp persimmons, grapefruits, mangoes, lemons, and pineapple honey in the cellar. Additionally, there are chestnuts, walnuts, peaches, apricots, bayberries, and persimmon cakes, all homemade. I'll give some to fifth sister-in-law later. Xiao Xian nodded with a smile. Our garden truly is a treasure trove. She made a mental note to acquire some fruit saplings from Liuhe Manor upon her return. When she got back, she planned to add a variety of fruit trees to her garden. Although she wasn't sure how long her husband would remain in An's province, it seemed likely he wouldn't depart for the next 3 to 4 years. Besides, An's province was close to Yuzhong, so even if her husband wasn't there, it wouldn't pose a problem. There was no harm in expanding their property holdings. For breakfast that morning, they had steamed buns and porridge. The buns were small but packed with various fillings: dried plum vegetables, cured meat, radish pork, cabbage vermicelli with mutton, mushrooms, celery, pork, chives, eggs, shrimp, and winter bamboo shoots. Fortunately, with many servants at home, they were able to prepare the meal early in the morning. Anan didn't have teeth yet, so Xiao Xian added some chopped spinach into the fish porridge. With a smile, Ms. Fang said to Xiao Xian, "I've prepared a bit of everything and they're not large. Try them all." Xiao Xian's face lit up. "Mom, I'll taste them all. I might need to go for round 3. Ms. Fang chuckled at Xiao Xian's appetite. "I didn't plan much, just thought we have so many vegetables from our garden and plenty of meat at home, so why not make more fillings? I'll keep them warm and steam one for you whenever you're ready." Xiao Xian felt touched by her mother-in-law's thoughtfulness and nodded appreciatively. In truth, which family would prepare such a variety of fillings? 2 or 3 options were already considered generous. It wasn't like they were making them for sale at a shop. Ms. Fang had gone to the trouble of preparing so many dishes just for their enjoyment. After breakfast, Ms. Fang, along with Xiao Xian and Anan, bearing gifts, went to visit the patriarch, the land officer, and several elders. Their family was here, and it was necessary to build a good relationship with the villagers. Ms. Fang and the others were still living in the village, and the second section of the family and the third section of the family were in a mess, so they might get into trouble from time to time. At this juncture, the villagers' attitudes held significant weight. Their disposition hinged upon the patriarch, the land officer, and the elders. These figures held authority, and no one dared to voice dissent against their judgments. For Xiao Yunduan to navigate his career smoothly, he needed to uphold a sterling reputation. Any dissent from the second and third sections of the family had to be quashed within the village. Chapter 1980. Visit. It took them 2 days to complete their visits and conversations. Xiao Xian's demeanor was gentle, devoid of the airs typically associated with an official's wife. However, perhaps due to her years in such a position and her altered attire from home, she exuded a dignified and reserved aura, commanding respect and dissuading any rudeness. The second branch of the Xiao family could be treated more casually, merely requiring a gift to be sent without the need for a personal visit. Conversely, the third branch was a closer relation, demanding a formal visit. Accompanied by Ms. Fang, Xiao Xian paid her respects to both branches. Taking care to leave Anan behind, Xiao Xian relieved her host's concerns upon seeing they hadn't brought the child along. The hosts, Ms. Ma and third uncle, breathed a sigh of relief at the absence of Anan. Not having to entertain the child was a relief, both in terms of appearances and the need to present a gift in greeting, which they could now conveniently omit under the pretense of forgetfulness. As the date of Zhao Shu and Tao Tao's marriage drew nearer, tensions between the third branch and the first section of the family escalated. However, Xiao Lilang's repeated warnings against causing further trouble with the first section kept them in check. Reluctantly, they extended an invitation to Ms. Fang and Xiao Xian to join them in their room. Enduring the humiliation for the sake of their son's future, the two women accepted the invitation. Upon seeing Xiao, Ms. Ma couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy. She remarked, "Niece-in-law, you're looking quite refined these days. Much improved from before. Seems like without your in-laws to hold you back, you're living quite comfortably." Xiao was left speechless. Ms. Fang, both irritated and amused, noted that some people never changed their habit of speaking ill of others. In the past, Ms. Fang might have erupted into a confrontation, but now she chose to remain composed. Despite Ms. Ma's remarks, Xiao remained unruffled. Her heart remained untouched by any ripple. After all, she no longer saw herself on the same level as Ms. Ma. Her family's prosperity and smooth sailing made her uninterested in engaging in any competition. She had no desire to change Ms. Ma's bad habits. "There's no need to worry about that," Xiao replied calmly. "Every mother-in-law cares about their daughter-in-law. I've been through a lot, so it's only natural that I've changed. Besides, I've been managing things with Mr. Qiao and Wulang in An's province. I've guided them on what to say in their letters. And now that I've given birth to a son, of course, I'm not the same as before. I'm feeling much better." Xiao nearly burst into laughter, nodding in exaggerated agreement. "Absolutely. Ever since Anan was born, I've been so happy. Plus, my husband's career is thriving, and Tao has found such a good family. My parents and siblings are all in good health. Happiness looks good on me." Ms. Fang burst into laughter. "Absolutely." Xiao smiled again. "Honestly, I sometimes wish my mother would control me. She has a lot of wisdom to offer, and am grateful for her guidance. So, I don't feel uncomfortable at all. What third aunt-in-law said doesn't make any sense." Ms. Fang nodded approvingly. "I know you're sensible, not someone who indulges in baseless gossip." Ms. Ma, who was spouting nonsense, fell silent. Chapter 1981. You can brag when that happened. Ms. Ma smiled coldly. She was not satisfied and couldn't help but boast. "By the way, our Lulang is on track to become a high-ranking official. He's likely to pass the intermediate exam this year. Serving as an official in the capital is far superior to staying local." Ms. Ma wanted to tout her son's potential to become the primus, but Xiao Lulang had cautioned them multiple times against such presumptuousness, so Ms. Ma had to restrain herself. Ms. Fang smiled indulgently. "You can boast once you've hit the mark." Ms. Ma grew annoyed. "You, all right." Ms. Fang rose from her seat and signaled to Xiao that it was time to leave. "I'm afraid Anan will wake up soon, so we should head home as well. And don't forget to come help us during the wedding." She couldn't bear to witness Ms. Ma's conceited behavior. Xiao Lulang was merely going to the capital for an exam. Those unfamiliar with the situation might think he had already passed the intermediate and was on the verge of becoming an official. Each year, countless scholars journeyed to the capital. Xiao Yunduan's upcoming venture there filled them all with trepidation. He lacked Ms. Ma's and her husband's confidence in such matters. Hearing their boastfulness, he feared they might face embarrassment. Ms. Ma snorted dismissively. "We'll see about that." Then she turned to Xiao and asked, "Have you made up your mind, sister-in-law? The Zhao family is wealthy and has strict customs, unlike us, a humble countryside family. Any misstep during the wedding could bring ridicule and scorn upon Tao. You needn't worry. I might not understand everything, but Ms. Qiao does. The first madam of the Lixia family has sent her trusted housekeeper to accompany Ms. Qiao, so she can provide assistance." Ms. Ma's eyes widened in surprise, then she scoffed. "Ms. Qiao is young. What could she possibly know about such matters? The Yuezheng family isn't even here. How can we entrust Tao's wedding to a mere servant?" Xiao couldn't contain her frustration any longer. "Third aunt-in-law, you're mistaken. Auntie Hua, who serves elder aunt, is her right-hand woman and is incredibly knowledgeable. She's no ordinary servant. Her family owns hundreds of acres of land. With her guidance, Tao's marriage will be secure. And if anyone dares to interfere behind her back, I won't stand for it." Ms. Fang grew irritated by Ms. Ma's remarks and retorted sharply, "Auntie Hua is merely offering her assistance. What's wrong with that? Do you think I can't trust the housekeeper appointed by the first madam of the Yuezheng family and instead rely on a landowner's wife? Cao Tao's affairs won't be meddled with by an outsider. Ms. Ma could only watch them leave and spat after a while, muttering, "Ungrateful wretches." Ms. Fang also vented her frustrations to Xiao Xian. In a neighboring village, there was a local squire whose son had attempted the cultivated talent examination multiple times without success. The squire hoped to gain favor with the first section of the family, wishing for Xiao Yunduan to intercede with the Lord to help his son advance to the intermediate examination. When the squire's family approached them, Ms. Fang promptly declined the offer and distanced herself from them, despite their persistent attempts. Fortunately, eldest uncle was discerning and made no commitments. But the squire's family persisted. With Cao Tao's impending marriage to Zhao Shu, they assumed the Xiao family was unaware of their connections and sought to enlist Ms. Ma's aid, offering her inducements to act as a middle person. Chapter 1982. She distrusted Ms. Ma. Contemplating the situation, Ms. Ma saw an opportunity to leverage Cao Tao's family affairs to garner a significant favor from the first section of the family. Driven by her keen interest in financial gain, she eagerly pursued this course of action. For Cao Tao's benefit and the benefit of the first section of the family, she persistently urged eldest uncle and Ms. Fang to discuss the matter repeatedly. Eldest uncle, swayed by her persuasion, was deceived by her apparent goodwill. With his impending marriage into the Zhao family looming over him, he harbored insecurities about facing them during the bride retrieval ceremony. He feared making a spectacle of himself and bringing disgrace upon his daughter. In comparison, the country squires seemed more knowledgeable and willing to assist. Wasn't it advantageous for him to lend a hand? However, Ms. Fang remained resolute in her refusal. She harbored deep skepticism about Ms. Ma's intentions. Despite feeling somewhat apprehensive about the situation, she found solace in the fact that Xiao Xian would soon return. While she may not fully comprehend the intricacies of the situation, Xiao Xian possessed the insight to navigate it effectively. As long as they avoided embarrassing themselves and managed the situation competently, they would weather the storm just fine. Ms. Fang hadn't anticipated Xiao Xian's early return, accompanied by the experienced Auntie Hua, which brought her immense relief knowing that Ms. Ma wouldn't meddle in the affairs. Impressed by Xiao Xian's thoughtful planning, Ms. Fang couldn't help but express her admiration. With Auntie Hua's guidance, both mother-in-law and daughter-in-law found themselves more at ease, simply following her lead. Auntie Hua initially worried about overstepping her boundaries, but soon realized she needn't fret. Grateful for her assistance, Ms. Fang and Xiao Xian wholeheartedly welcomed her involvement. Given the Xiao family's wealth, arrangements were swiftly and smoothly executed, leaving everyone content. Recognizing the lack of necessity, Xiao Xian abandoned the notion of visiting the second section of the family, knowing it wouldn't affect the etiquette. It was rather amusing when eldest uncle discreetly approached Xiao Xian, hinting at her to visit the second section of the family. Xiao Xian couldn't help but chuckle at the situation. Instead of directly responding to eldest uncle's suggestion, she feigned confusion and tactfully brushed off his insinuations, not giving him the opportunity for a private conversation. However, Xiao Xian had a close bond with Ms. Yan and Mei Qing, so she extended an invitation for them to dine at her home. Delighted by the invitation, both Ms. Yan and Mei Qing eagerly accepted. Their sons, who were slightly older than Anan, accompanied them. Xiao Xian arranged for the boys to play together with Anan, much to the excitement of all three children. The Yan family's bean products business flourished once again, with stable production and increased sales, thanks to the support from the Yuezheng family. They had become quite renowned in Heshan County. Ms. Yan was very grateful to Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian felt a sense of satisfaction knowing she had made the right decisions in the past. Despite the widespread adoption of cooking methods like rotten bamboo, oilskin, thousand pieces, and dried incense, the Yan family's specialty in tofu remained unparalleled. Their bean products boasted the best taste and the most authentic fragrance, making them a leader in the industry. While expanding their operations was challenging, they still managed to firmly secure about a third of the market share, ensuring a prosperous life for the Yan family. The success of the Yan family also brought benefits to the second section of the Xiao family. Xiao Xian took the opportunity to inspect all their properties and utilized her skills to enhance their growth. From flower fields to tea houses, orchards to medicinal herb gardens, each sector thrived under her management. Their businesses expanded, and their families flourished thanks to her efforts. Chapter 1983. The Zhao family arrived in the villages and neighboring areas. Numerous individuals cultivated herb and flower fields. The initial segment of the Xiao family purchased these crops based on their quality, processing and selling the flowers after handling the herbs. Due to the extensive business of the Xiao family, they needed to employ workers year-round for tasks such as soil cultivation, weeding, harvesting, and other responsibilities. Whenever they ventured outdoors, Xiao Xian would bring Anan along. With the warming weather and Anan's agility, she could easily accompany them. The youngster reveled in the outings, displaying boundless joy and curiosity. Near the pond in the Zhang family village, they encountered a school of fish swimming gracefully. Their excitement almost led to an accidental plunge into the water, startling their caregiver and companions. Xiao Xian reminisced about the flavors of spring bamboo shoots, wild greens, mushrooms, and other delicacies. Joining Tao Tao, Yang Xiaoni, and Xiao Sanlang, she ventured into the mountains for hunting expeditions. Despite Qi's absence, Sun Bai and the others' archery prowess was evident. Coupled with Xiao Xian's remarkable abilities, they successfully hunted abundant prey. Fresh wild mutton, venison, pheasant, and wild rabbit, whether stir-fried, stewed, or barbecued, remained delightfully flavorful. Following that, their schedule became increasingly hectic. Tao Tao's marriage into the Zhao family demanded utmost attention. By the end of February, Zhao Shu rendezvoused with his relatives on their journey. More than 20 individuals, encompassing cousins, uncles, aunts, nephews, and servants, eventually reached Heshan County. Accommodating such a large group in Zhao Shu's courtyard proved impractical. Consequently, only a select few elders were invited to stay, while accommodations were arranged at the county inn for the rest. What irked Zhao Shu the most was the unexpected arrival of his half-brothers, Zhao Di and Zhao Yi. Upon sighting them, Zhao Shu's expression darkened noticeably. Zhao Yi remained composed, concealing his emotions in Zhao Shu's presence. However, when Zhao Di observed Zhao Shu's evident fury, he couldn't resist mocking him sarcastically. Zhao Shu, refusing to tolerate the disrespect, promptly considered dismissing him. It was ludicrous how Zhao Di, in his rage, attempted to assume the role of an elder brother, brazenly admonishing Zhao Shu. Before Zhao Di could conclude his reprimand, Zhao Shu impatiently interjected, ridiculing him, "Cousin, how audacious of you! Do you even possess the right to speak of my father? My father? Ha! It's common knowledge that he passed away long ago. Am I to blame for being unfilial and failing him?" Zhao Di's embarrassment was palpable, his complexion fluctuating between green and white. Seeing Zhao Shu's envy, Zhao Di felt compelled to lecture him, momentarily forgetting that Zhao Shu was adopted and no longer under their father's authority. After all, wasn't he just an ordinary cousin to Zhao Shu? Zhao Shu sneered, "Cousin, if you're here to stir up trouble, then kindly leave. I'm getting married, not inviting chaos into my life for your amusement." Attempting to defuse the tension, Zhao Di intervened, "Zhao Shu, is this how you treat your family just because you have some wealth? If you disdain us, just say it outright. We won't stay where we're not wanted." In response, Zhao Shu spat at him in disdain, "I'm talking to you, not to them. Why drag others into this? Perhaps I was mistaken in calling you shameless. How can you be shameless when you're simply devoid of decency? I treat my family with far more respect than you ever have. Have you ever looked out for our family's interests? I'll be frank with you, I simply don't care for you. If you dare to cause trouble again, don't expect me to hold back. This has been a trying time for everyone involved. I, Zhao Shu, will undoubtedly repay those who have supported me generously, but you've done nothing of the sort. Who gave you the right to disrupt things?" Chapter 1984. Disgusting former brother Zhao Di seethed with anger. Upon hearing Zhao Di's grievances, the other family members rallied to his side, empathizing with his plight. Hastily, they intervened, whisking him away before he could utter another word. Naturally, Zhao Di couldn't simply depart without a plan. Aware of Zhao Shu's volatile temper, he understood that further agitation would only result in expulsion. Thus, he begrudgingly swallowed his indignation, opting not to provoke Zhao Shu any further during their journey. This concession left Zhao Shu feeling somewhat remorseful. Secretly, he harbored a desire for Zhao Di to misstep, providing him with a justification to take action. Upon their arrival at Heshan County, Zhao Di and Zhao Yi were promptly lodged at the inn. Despite being adopted, they felt entitled to better treatment. Their relegation to the inn left them discontented. Uncle Qing and Aunt Qing had diligently made preparations. Upon the Zhao family's arrival in Heshan County, they merely needed to rest briefly before the groom's arrival. Promptly upon his arrival, Zhao Shu dispatched a missive to the primary branch of the family. The following day, Zhao Shu's 2 uncles and 2 aunts made their way to Shouting Village to confer with Ms. Fang, eldest uncle, and other members of the Xiao family regarding the wedding arrangements. This face-to-face discussion was deemed necessary. Thanks to Zhao Shu's prior correspondence, the first branch of the family was well prepared for the impending visit from the Zhao family. Upon the arrival of Zhao Shu's relatives, the courtyard of the first branch was meticulously cleaned, and everyone donned their finest attire, elevating their usual appearance without appearing ostentatious or out of place. Though not as affluent as Zhao Shu, the first branch of the Xiao family still enjoyed a level of prosperity far surpassing that of any other household in the village. However, when Uncle Zhao Shu and company departed for the village, Zhao Di somehow caught wind of their plans and insisted on tagging along. Despite Uncle Zhao Shu's attempts to dissuade him, Zhao Di stubbornly persisted, eventually relenting only when it became apparent that he wouldn't be allowed to accompany them. Consequently, when one of Uncle Qing's subordinates introduced Zhao Di as his young master's cousin, Qiao Xian couldn't suppress a silent sneer at the sight of him. Zhao Di was unfamiliar with Qiao Xian, just as she was with him. While Qiao Xian had deceived the Zhao family, she had no prior acquaintance with Zhao Di beyond knowing his name. However, Qiao Xian could discern Zhao Di's demeanor from the moment he set foot in the courtyard. His scrutinizing and disdainful expression spoke volumes. Ms. Fang and eldest uncle remained oblivious to Zhao Di's intentions, extending warm greetings to the Zhao family, along with Ms. Su and Xiao Deng. They failed to detect any hint of animosity from Zhao Di. Unlike the others, Yang Xiaoni didn't appear naive. Despite the cordial reception extended by Ms. Fang and eldest uncle, she sensed something amiss with Zhao Di's attitude. Tugging at Xiao Xian's sleeve, she whispered, "Fifth sister-in-law, that's young Master Zhao's cousin. Why does he seem to harbor ill feelings and look down upon us?" Xiao Xian was taken aback but offered a reassuring smile to Yang Xiaoni. "I believe you, Yang Xiaoni, am not doubting your observations." Sensing Yang Xiaoni's earnestness, Xiao Xian continued, "I understand your love for Tao Tao, and I know you wouldn't speak ill of the Zhao family without cause. I witnessed it too, the eye-rolling and disdainful expression. You're right to be concerned. Who would roll their eyes at a wedding after all?" Chapter 1985. What does he mean? Xiao Xian chuckled softly and whispered, "Third sister-in-law, rest assured I believe you. Truth be told, I noticed it too." "Thank you." Yang Xiaoni sighed in relief. "But what do you think he's up to?" Xiao Xian's expression turned sardonic. "He's certainly scheming something. Every family has someone like him, though I can't fathom how he made it onto the Zhao family's guest list. But don't worry, he won't cause any trouble." Yang Xiaoni, reassured by Xiao Xian's confidence, smiled gratefully. "That's a relief." The 2 women then entered the room and took their seats beside Ms. Fang. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Lixia and Lixia, who brought in tea. As Uncle and Aunt Zhao surveyed the courtyard and the dwelling of the first branch of the Xiao family, and noted the attire of its members, they couldn't help but feel a sense of superiority. While they couldn't match Zhao Shu's wealth, boasting only 100 mu of land and a couple of servants, having hailed from affluent Jiangnan, they possessed broader perspectives than the denizens of this remote countryside. Although the living conditions of the first branch of the Xiao family surpassed those of typical rural households, Uncle and Aunt Zhao didn't regard them highly. He sighed inwardly, perplexed by Zhao Shu's decision. Why did he insist on marrying a woman from such a distant and humble background? Even if he claimed to admire her family and their ties to a prefect lord, was it really necessary? If Zhao Shu truly desired it, obtaining the consent of the magistrate might pose a challenge, but marrying into the legitimate daughter of the county magistrate's family wouldn't be impossible. Fortunately, he was adopted. Otherwise, his wife would likely be subjected to mistreatment in that grand mansion. While they could attempt to persuade Zhao Shu, they couldn't compel him to change his mind. Given the circumstances, they could only offer their support. After all, they weren't the ones getting married. Besides, this visit wouldn't be without its benefits. Zhao Shu was undeniably generous. Initially dismissing the significance of the tea service, they assumed it would be of low quality given the rural setting. Surely, it would consist of nothing more than ordinary tea leaves, resulting in a bitter and astringent brew. Initially, he hadn't planned to indulge, merely taking a polite sip of the tea as a gesture of respect towards the Xiao family. However, upon the arrival of the tea, he was taken aback by the exquisite white porcelain tea set adorned with delicate floral motifs, a sight reminiscent of broken branches and blooming flowers. The porcelain was pristine and smooth as snow. Within the teacup, a faint purple hue danced, the liquid crystal clear, exuding a rich tea fragrance tinged with the delightful essence of roses. Upon closer inspection, a subtle medicinal aroma wafted from the brew, inducing a sense of relaxation and joy. The harmonious unity of the tea set's design only added to its aesthetic appeal. Moreover, the tantalizing aroma of the tea proved irresistible, prompting him to take another sip to fully savor its flavor. The tea was invigorating, leaving a refreshing sensation and a feeling of renewed energy. With each sip, the fragrance grew more pure and delightful, eliciting silent praise. Never had he anticipated encountering such exceptional tea in the countryside. Zhao Shu and his uncles had never experienced this tea before, while Zhao Di, having been affluent previously, had sampled it on occasion. Merely from the aroma and hue of the tea, Zhao Di could surmise its identity. Yet he found it difficult to believe. It wasn't until he tasted it that his suspicions were confirmed. I never imagined I'd encounter supreme-grade purple fragrance here today. This tea fetches a hefty sum of 30 taels of silver in Jiangnan. It seems Zhao Shu truly holds the Yu family in high esteem. The revelation left Zhao Shu and his uncle stunned. Supreme-grade purple fragrance? Could it truly be the renowned purple fragrance they were familiar with? Chapter 1986. Dumbfounded upon hearing Zhao Di's confirmation, it became undeniable. Not only was it purple fragrance, but it was also of the highest quality, supreme-grade purple fragrance. Valued at 30 taels of silver per tael, equivalent to an astonishing 300 taels of silver per catty. It was worth noting that the tea they typically consumed at home cost only a little over 10 taels of silver per catty. Even then, they weren't particularly keen on splurging. More often than not, they settled for tea leaves priced at 5 to 6 taels of silver per catty, indulging in finer varieties on rare occasions. Zhao Shu's willingness to offer such luxury was remarkable. He had never shown such filial piety before. The Xiao family must be exceptionally fortunate. For a moment, a sense of unease settled upon them. Miss Fang interjected, surprised by the revelation. "We cultivate these tea leaves ourselves. It's not because of Shu." Xiao Xian, with a knowing smile, replied, "Mom, they're guests. They're not aware of our affairs." Turning towards the Zhao family, she continued, "We operate a sizable tea house spanning nearly 2,000 mu, cultivating both golden sprout and purple fragrance varieties. We reserve the finest tea leaves for our own family each year, and as our esteemed guests, it's only fitting that we serve you the best." Zhao Shu and his uncles were left speechless. Zhao Di's smile appeared strained, his skepticism evident. He forced a smile and remarked, "Your family's tea house exclusively cultivates these two tea varieties? They're quite rare. Tea seedlings aren't readily available. Could it be that you've been misled?" Xiao Xian chuckled softly. "Every year, reputable businessmen from Yuzhong province come to purchase our tea leaves. Golden Sprout typically fetches around 40 taels of silver per caddy, while Purple Fragrance goes for about 100 taels of silver per caddy. Embarrassment washed over Zhao Di, rendering him speechless. He managed to force another smile and conceded, "In that case, you truly are fortunate. Zhao Shu must have provided these tea seedlings for your family, right? He's been quite generous to the Yu family." Qiao Xian, wearing a puzzled expression, responded, "Why would you assume that? Our tea house was established before we met Zhao Shu." Zhao Di felt deflated. Unable to contain his curiosity, he inquired, "Where did you obtain the tea seedlings, then?" With a gentle smile, Qiao Xian replied, "It's a rather lengthy tale. My husband procured a batch of tea seeds from a merchant, and we nurtured them ourselves. We didn't have high expectations, but all the tea seeds sprouted beautifully. My husband and sister-in-law are incredibly fortunate. They make an excellent match for young Master Zhao." Everyone laughed. Ms. Fang's delight was palpable, her smile radiant as she exchanged a meaningful glance with Qiao Xian. Unable to refute Ms. Fang's words, the uncles of the Zhao family joined in with compliments for Tao Tao, their smiles masking any lingering discomfort. Feeling slighted, Zhao Di couldn't comprehend how this discussion related to Zhao Shu's fiancée. Why was she receiving praise? "Well, your family certainly seems fortunate. With your wealth, why haven't you purchased a home in the city and relocated? Living in a village can be quite inconvenient." Ms. Fang's expression soured at the suggestion. "There are benefits to rural life as well. The villagers here are incredibly welcoming. This village is the foundation of our Xiao family. How could we simply uproot ourselves? Even if we're not lacking in funds, we mustn't forget our roots." Qiao Xian chimed in, "My mother speaks the truth. However, we do own properties in the county and the province. We can comfortably reside here whenever necessary." Zhao Di found himself at a loss for words. Chapter 1987. Things are no longer the same. The uncle of the Zhao family shot Zhao Di a warning glance, then swiftly changed the subject, steering the conversation towards the upcoming wedding day. Despite refraining from vocalizing it, Zhao Di couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. The Zhao family seemed to possess a veritable treasure trove, abounding with tea mountains, gold mines, and a son who had risen to prominence as a primus. Moreover, the members of this family didn't appear to be ignorant or simple-minded. It became clear why Zhao Shu was adamant about marrying into this family. They had gathered to celebrate a joyous occasion, not to indulge in mockery directed at Zhao Di. If he persisted in making unwarranted remarks, he risked offending the Xiao family and incurring Zhao Shu's wrath. Even if Qiao Xian chose to overlook his behavior, Zhao Di couldn't expect leniency or favor in the future. While others might underestimate the Xiao family, Qiao Xian, being an official's wife, possessed keen discernment. Despite Zhao Di's thinly veiled sarcasm, he couldn't outsmart her. Action needed to be taken. Though seething with anger and resentment, Zhao Di dared not defy the elders of his clan. He could only clench his jaw in frustration and keep his thoughts to himself. The circumstances had changed drastically. Their family had fallen from grace, relegated to a small town far from Yangzhou. They now had to eke out a living tending to meager farmland and a handful of struggling shops. Who cared about these pretentious elites and highbrow individuals in the clan anymore? Now, they were all scrambling to ingratiate themselves with that despicable Zhao Shu. Even the impoverished peasants of the Xiao family were shamelessly trying to win their favor. Once again, Zhao Di harbored resentment towards his father. Why did he ever agree to let Zhao Shu be adopted? Why did he consent? If not for that decision, Zhao Shu wouldn't hold such sway today. With Zhao Di refraining from stirring up trouble, the two families conversed amiably. Auntie Hua offered guidance, while Qiao Xian facilitated the discussion. Everything proceeded smoothly, and the Zhao family was thoroughly impressed by the Xiao family's thorough preparation. With the plan settled, there was little cause for concern. All they had to do now was await the wedding day. After the discussion, Ms. Fang and eldest uncle extended an invitation for lunch, which the Zhao family graciously accepted. Ms. Fang promptly arranged a room for their guests to rest in and instructed Ms. Su to escort them there to relax. She assured them she would summon them when lunch was ready. Following the lengthy deliberation, the Zhao family grew weary. They expressed their satisfaction with Ms. Fang's considerate arrangements and conveyed their gratitude with warm smiles. In the designated rest area, hot tea accompanied by an array of fruits and snacks awaited them. While the tea remained supreme-grade purple fragrance, the snacks appeared to be standard fare, likely procured from the county city. However, the freshly peeled and sliced peaches, juicy oranges, diced dragon fruits, pears, cantaloupes, washed blueberries, and honey-drenched pineapple were exceptionally enticing. Some of the fruits were unfamiliar to them, leaving them intrigued. Learning that these fruits hailed from the Xiao family's orchard only heightened their admiration and stirred their emotions further. Upon sampling the fruits, they were met with a burst of fragrance, freshness, and sweetness. Impressed, they showered the offerings with praise, acknowledging their exceptional quality and refraining from underestimating them in any way. What the Xiao family possessed, they lacked, leaving no room for disdain. Lunch was served with separate seating arrangements for men and women, each group seated in the dining hall and the flower hall respectively. Despite the segregation, the meal consisted of identical fare, 12 dishes and a soup. Chapter 1988. He has no good intentions. Aware of their guests' origins from Jiangnan, Xiao Xian instructed the preparation of light dishes for lunch. The spread included steamed mandarin fish, tea-flavored shrimp, white-cut chicken, white meat with garlic paste, and sea cucumber with scallions, among others. As they were about to commence the meal, Zhao Di was conspicuously absent. He had purportedly gone for a stroll in the village, prompting Xiao Delong and Xiao Sanlang to retrieve him for dinner. Upon locating Zhao Di, Xiao Sanlang found him engaged in conversation with 5th Grandma Ding, who appeared animated and pointedly addressing him. Aware of the strained relationship between their families, Xiao Sanlang refrained from intervening, simply escorting Zhao Di back home. Throughout the journey, Zhao Di exhibited an air of smugness, as if he held something over Xiao Sanlang. He stole several furtive glances at him along the way. Upon reconvening for dinner, the Zhao family was taken aback by the sight of the sumptuous spread before them. However, reflecting on the Xiao family's extensive tea house, they surmised the source of the lavish meal. With a tea house boasting a vast supply of supreme-grade purple fragrance and golden sprout, it was only natural for the Xiao family to present a table laden with exquisite dishes. The unexpectedly delectable flavors further heightened the Zhao family's satisfaction. Following the meal, the Zhao family departed contentedly, both parties parting ways on amicable terms, eagerly anticipating the upcoming wedding. Before bidding farewell, the Xiao family graciously bestowed gifts upon the 2 aunts of the Zhao family, who received them with heartfelt gratitude. As for Zhao Di, he was not seen off as an elder, for he did not hold such a status. Ms. Fang harbored no fondness for this particular young master of the Zhao family, finding him incessantly vexing and prone to causing trouble. Yet, she hesitated over the decision to exclude him. However, Xiao Xian reassured her with a smile, urging her not to fret. The gift, traditionally given out of filial respect, held little significance if omitted by ordinary individuals. Xiao Xian was keenly aware of the underlying motives. She was certain that Zhao Di hadn't been part of the planned visit. Rather, he had surreptitiously trailed them here. His intentions were far from noble. Given the circumstances, why should they tolerate his presence, let alone extend the courtesy of a gift? They wouldn't offer him so much as a single blade of grass. Trusting Xiao Xian's judgment implicitly, Ms. Fang felt a wave of relief wash over her. Once inside the carriage, the 2 aunts of the Zhao family eagerly unpacked the gifts. Inside the larger box were 2 jars of tea leaves, one containing supreme-grade purple fragrance and the other golden sprout, each weighing approximately 500 grams. The smaller box contained 2 lipsticks. The 2 aunties were elated at the gifts. While lipsticks were available in Jiangnan, they were in high demand and carried a hefty price tag of 50 taels of silver each. Such luxury items were beyond their means, even with their modest income from the farm. Although they were no longer in their prime and couldn't make use of the lipsticks themselves, They knew their daughters would be thrilled to receive such coveted items. The uncles of the Zhao family shared in the joy, marveling at the quality of the tea. They couldn't help but admire the Xiao family's generosity. Observing their effusive praise for the Xiao family, Zhao Di seethed with jealousy and irritation. After all, the Xiao family hadn't presented him with a gift. Not that he cared about such trivialities, but he couldn't shake off the feeling of discontent over being excluded from the gesture. Zhao Di couldn't contain his frustration, muttering, "They're just country bumpkins. How dare they be so stingy? A mere tea house with a few thousand mu of land? They're deliberately treating us differently. Even though I'm not destitute, they clearly don't take the Zhao family seriously." Chapter 1989. These bastards. The uncles and aunts of the Zhao family were jubilantly praising the Xiao family, envisioning future gatherings where they could entertain guests with the exquisite tea leaves. Thus, Zhao Di's disparaging remark, "I'm so poor I can only rely on these tea leaves," struck a discordant note. Uncle Zhao reprimanded him sternly. "Enough. If you persist in finding fault where there is none, I won't tolerate it if you embarrass yourself and bring ridicule upon the Zhao family." The aunt chimed in with a smile. "They made it clear that this gesture is to honor the elders, and you're not one. You needn't see us off. Moreover, you had no business coming here today." With these words, they cast reproachful glances at Zhao Di. This troublemaker knew exactly what he was doing. Thankfully, he hadn't caused any major disturbances today. Otherwise, how would they answer to Zhao Shu? Firmly, she scolded Zhao Di and warned him sternly against repeating such behavior. If he failed to mend his ways, she'd be forced to discipline him herself. Zhao Di seethed with anger, hatred, and frustration. He sneered and retorted, "Do you think I wanted to come? It's all because of my father's orders. Someone with a clear conscience is eager to snatch assets in front of an unfilial son, yet my father still pines for him and insists we inspect this family's background. We couldn't refuse, could we? It's not like an unfilial son can disobey." "Enough." Uncle Zhao's voice cut through the air, his expression icy. "Sorting out family affairs is no easy task. I have no interest in discussing your family's matters, but Zhao Shu is here for the bride, so cut it out. Don't spout nonsense about unfilial sons. Zhao Shu has long been adopted. Your father is not his father. If you keep up this foolishness, he'll have someone escort you back immediately. Do you understand?" Veins pulsated on Zhao Di's forehead as he clenched his fists, consumed by hatred and jealousy. These hypocrites. Once the wealthiest man in Yangzhou City, these people had once sought his favor. Now that his family had fallen from grace, they'd shifted their stance. It was nothing but taking advantage of Zhao Shu to target him, albeit in a polite guise. Zhao Di dared not argue with the elders of the family, yet his dissatisfaction simmered beneath a forced smile. "Uncle, rest assured. I'm not that unreliable. But I've heard some things from the village. The Xiao family isn't an easy bunch to get along with. Word has it that Zhao Shu had his eye on a girl from the third branch of the Xiao family, but she was snatched away by the first section of the family. The elders of the Zhao family were taken aback. Such rumors existed? They had been completely unaware. Seizing the opportunity, Zhao Di felt a surge of self-satisfaction. He had been ready to embellish the tale and tarnish Tao Tao's reputation, thereby souring the Zhao family clan's impression of her. However, before he could elaborate, he was interrupted by the Zhao family aunt. With Zhao Shu's character, he can't be easily manipulated by others. Don't spread baseless rumors on account of mere hearsay. If Zhao Shu catches wind of this, it won't end well. We all know how much Zhao Shu values this girl from the Xiao family. How could he have favored someone else first and then turned his attention to her? Either you've been fed some nonsense or there's been a misunderstanding. Exactly. I saw the girl from the Xiao family today. She's quite pleasant. It's no wonder Zhao Shu took a liking to her. Agreed. Chapter 1990. How could Zhao Shu bear with it? A few elders reprimanded Zhao Di, cautioning him to mind his words, lest he incur Zhao Shu's wrath, a fate he wouldn't relish. However, the Zhao family elders paid little heed to Zhao Di's remarks. What audacity! Given Zhao Shu's background, envy was to be expected. Rumors were bound to circulate. They were only aware that Zhao Shu attached great importance to this marriage and had earnestly invited them to participate. Their role was to assist in ensuring the wedding proceeded smoothly. As for Zhao Di's family, when they were affluent, they hadn't extended any support to their relatives. Now that their fortunes had waned, why bother? Furthermore, given Zhao Di's apparent attempt to sow discord, they were not inclined to entertain it. Zhao Di was deserving of being sidelined, left out in the cold. To their surprise, the coachman had overheard Zhao Di's words and promptly relayed them to Zhao Shu upon their return. Would Zhao Shu tolerate such behavior? He never imagined that Zhao Di would dare to venture to Xiaoding village alone. Thankfully, his plan didn't succeed. Otherwise, what impression would the Xiao family have of him? Engaging in a public dispute over this matter wouldn't bode well. If Zhao Di insisted on pretending to be concerned and made him out to be the villain, there was little he could do. Zhao Shu opted not to engage in open confrontation. Instead, he instructed his trusted aides to hire a few individuals to confront Zhao Di and Zhao Yi in a secluded alley. After a thrashing, they bound the brothers tightly and hauled them off to a dim, solitary room. In their bruised and terrified state, Zhao Di and Zhao Yi's eyes betrayed their fear upon seeing Zhao Shu. Refusing to appear weak in front of Zhao Shu, Zhao Di forced a semblance of dignity and spat out bitterly, "Zhao Shu, you're truly ruthless. You orchestrated this against us. Once father learns of this, he won't spare you." Zhao Shu scoffed derisively. "Your father can do as he pleases. If you find your life too comfortable now, feel free to provoke me anytime. Face one, I'll handle one. Bring two, I'll deal with both." Zhao Yi interjected, "We traveled all this way to attend your wedding celebration. Is this how you repay us?" Zhao Shu pointed accusatorily at Zhao Di. "Then you should ask your dear elder brother what he's done. While I initially overlooked you and couldn't be bothered, your continued provocations leave me no choice. You needn't attend my wedding, just stay put." Zhao Shu paid no heed to Zhao Yi's protests and swiftly departed, leaving instructions for someone to keep watch over the two brothers. What use were such nuisances if not to be dealt with? Zhao Yi suppressed his frustration and turned to Zhao Di for an explanation. With a face contorted in anger, Zhao didn't mince words. Through gritted teeth, he recounted his actions. Zhao Yi's expression darkened. "Brother, your actions were rash." Sneering, Zhao Di retorted, "I couldn't stand his smug demeanor. I wanted to make things difficult for him." Seeing Zhao Di's unyielding stance, Zhao Yi closed his eyes, choosing to remain silent. Originally, Zhao Yi had planned to deliver a substantial blow on the day of Zhao Shu's wedding, hoping to sabotage the marriage and potentially turn the Xiao family against Zhao Shu. Aware of the Xiao family's prominence and the influence of Lord Xiao in En's province, he saw an opportunity for his family to reclaim the assets Zhao Shu had seized. Yet, all his plans were shattered by his brother's impulsive actions. Desperate to leave, Zhao Yi attempted to reason with the guards, all of whom were Zhao Shu's trusted aides. But they remained stoically silent, offering no response beyond their basic duties of delivering meals and ensuring the brothers' basic needs were met. Chapter 1991. Wedding. As for Zhao Yi's attempts at pleading and his benevolent request for assistance in delivering a message to Zhao Shu, they were simply ignored. As for Zhao Shu, he did not visit after that day. He was preoccupied with preparing for his role as the groom. How could he find the time to entertain such requests? The Zhao clan members quickly realized that Zhao Di and Zhao Yi had vanished. When questioned, Zhao Shu casually mentioned that they had prior engagements and had departed. No one pressed the matter further, knowing the temperament of the Zhao family. In no time, it was the day of the bridal escort. On this busy day, both sides were bustling early in the morning. At the Xiao family's estate, Tao Tao, as the bride-to-be, rose at dawn to bathe, change into her ceremonial attire, and adorn herself. While an ordinary countryside girl might not observe such elaborate rituals, Tao Tao, now marrying into the affluent Zhao Shu's family as the sister of the prefect lord, meticulously followed tradition. Fortunately, Auntie Hua was well versed in the procedure, and everyone followed her arrangements diligently. In Heshan County City, Zhao Shu was brimming with joy. He asked repeatedly if it was time, eliciting teasing remarks from everyone around him. Finally, the moment arrived. With a radiant smile, he swiftly mounted his horse, prompting even more playful banter. Amidst the spirited beats of drums, the bridal escort procession embarked towards Xiaoding village. As the bridal entourage approached, eager onlookers who had rushed out to catch a glimpse hastily dashed back to the village to spread the news. The first section of the Xiao family also received word. As the procession entered the village, the already jubilant music of the bridal entourage soared to even greater heights. Encircled by villagers and delighted children darting around, the atmosphere brimmed with liveliness and merriment. Since the uncles and aunts of the Zhao family had previously visited Xiaoding village and received such generous gifts, they spoke highly of the Xiao family in front of their fellow clansmen. Furthermore, with Zhao Di and Zhao Yi detained by Zhao Shu's orders, there were no disruptions to spoil the smooth proceedings. Today, everything unfolded seamlessly, unlike the previous occasion when Zhao Di had caused trouble with his sarcasm. Symbolically blocking the door, Zhao Shu successfully entered the first section of the family's house. Amidst the laughter and well-wishes, he finally approached his bride. As Tao Tao was veiled in red and carried onto the bridal sedan chair by Xiao Deleng, Zhao Shu's eyes remained fixed on her, his smile beaming with delight. With the bride's departure from the pavilion, the dowries followed in a grand procession, numbering a staggering 99. The villagers of Xiaoding, as well as the Zhao clan members, were left astounded and impressed. The wealth of the Xiao family was truly remarkable. Initially, there were skeptics among the villagers who doubted the tales shared by the visiting uncles and aunties from the Zhao family. However, witnessing the extravagant display of wealth firsthand, they had no choice but to accept the truth. Even though a significant portion of the dowry comprised gifts bestowed by Zhao Shu, the Xiao family's generosity was unmistakable. Moreover, they had procured the rest of the dowry with their own resources. Accompanied by Ms. Fang's family, the bridal entourage was escorted to the village's entrance. As they watched the procession depart joyfully, Ms. Fang couldn't help but feel a mixture of emotions. Happiness and relief mingled with sadness and nostalgia. Tao Tao, her beloved daughter, was now a wife belonging to another family. Chapter 1992. Ms. Ma is getting more enthusiastic. Qiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni tactfully ignored mother-in-law's teary eyes, choosing instead to offer comforting words about Tao Tao's bright future. Their laughter helped ease the tension, and Ms. Fang visibly relaxed. Realizing that crying on such a joyful occasion wouldn't be appropriate, Ms. Fang regained her composure. She took solace in the fact that Tao Tao was marrying into a family where she wouldn't be mistreated. If Tao Tao ever wished to return, she could do so freely, maintaining contact with her birth family. With spirits lifted, Ms. Fang invited everyone to return to the banquet. Despite initial reluctance from Ms. Ma and third uncle, they couldn't afford to snub the event. The thought of the first section of the family seizing the marriage left them feeling aggrieved. However, boycotting the celebration would only fuel rumors of discord within their own branch of the family. How could this be tolerated? The couple begrudgingly accepted their fate. Xiao Xiaoji remained absent throughout the entire affair. Ever since her unsettling encounter with Zhao Shu, she couldn't bear to dwell on thoughts of him. Though she still harbored a secret admiration, it was tainted with other, less savory emotions. Nevertheless, she couldn't shake her resentment towards Tao Tao. As Tao Tao's grand wedding unfolded, Xiao Xiaoji refused to attend out of spite. And Ms. Ma, understanding her daughter's feelings, didn't push her to go. If anyone inquired, they would be informed that Xiao Xiaoji was unwell and resting at home. When questioned about Xiao Xiaoda's absence, Ms. Ma's response dripped with jealousy. Suspecting ulterior motives behind the inquiry, she haughtily proclaimed that her Xiaoji wasn't in a rush. Once her husband Lu Lang ascended to a high-ranking position in the capital, they would secure a prestigious match for Xiaoji from an official family. If a brother who has risen to a high position doesn't look out for his sister, then who will? They share the same blood. Xiaoji must marry into an official's family, no question about it. The status of an official's wife is prestigious and esteemed. Who wouldn't show respect to her? She's in a league of her own compared to mere rich folks and businessmen. Ms. Ma's fervor only intensified as she spoke, displaying a clear disdain for businessmen. Her words left the relative who had inquired feeling deeply embarrassed. He wanted to interject, but found himself at a loss. To be frank, his question had been rather casual. He never anticipated Ms. Ma would seize upon it as an opportunity to expound on Tao Tao's husband. Had he known better, he wouldn't have asked at all. The others at the same table felt a similar sense of discomfort. Even if there were a couple of curious onlookers who were intrigued by the drama, they dared not utter a word. Better to simply listen and avoid stirring the pot. Nobody wanted to risk Ms. Ma's ire. Not everyone possessed Ms. Ma's audacity, nor did they share her lack of tact. Why did she choose the wedding banquet to air her grievances? Ms. Fang and Xianxia remained oblivious to the underlying tension. Ms. Ma's continued commentary proved futile. It was evident to everyone that her remarks stemmed from jealousy. But Ms. Fang silently removed 2 items she had intended to include in Xiaoxia's dowry. If you hold merchants in contempt, then don't accept gifts procured through their commerce. As the festivities drew to a close, relatives and friends dispersed, leaving the household to tidy up. By the time dusk fell, the chores were mostly completed. Chapter 1993. This begins while the house fell silent. It also seemed to be empty. Without Tao Tao, everyone was not used to it. However, no one said anything. Everyone was trying their best to adapt. Ms. Fang's gaze fell upon Anan, Xiao Qing, Xiao Junyan, and the other grandchildren. Her expression softened and she smiled, a sense of relief washing over her. Indeed, wasn't it so? While his children had already begun their own families, there were still his grandchildren. The household would soon be bustling with life again. Upon their return home, the sight of Zhao Shu with Tao Tao filled Ms. Fang, eldest uncle, and the others with joy. Their hearts swelled as they witnessed Zhao Shu's tender care for Tao Tao and the respectful demeanor of the Zhao family servants towards her. Ms. Fang felt a weight lift off her shoulders. Ms. Qiao had been right. Their family could provide Tao Tao with support and a solid foundation, but her future livelihood would ultimately be in her own hands. From all indications, this was a promising beginning. As Tao Tao and Zhao Shu prepared to depart, serving tea and bidding farewell, it was clear that they needed to return to the Zhao family promptly. Zhao Shu had the responsibility of introducing Tao Tao to the elders and the broader family lineage, tasks of utmost importance that couldn't be delayed. Both Ms. Fang and eldest uncle concurred with this decision. After a lively lunch, Ms. Fang took Tao Tao aside, holding her hand as they conversed privately. She imparted advice, guiding Tao Tao on what lay ahead. Later, Tao Tao informed Xiaoxian that she and Zhao Shu planned to visit 5th brother and 5th sister-in-law in An's province after departing from the Zhao family clan. Xiaoxian nodded approvingly, his smile warm. No need to worry. I believe brother-in-law enjoys exploring too. Take your time, we'll meet eventually. As the clock struck past 4 in the afternoon, Tao Tao reluctantly bid farewell, unable to linger any longer. With Zhao Shu by her side, she departed. Ms. Fang remained in a daze even after Tao Tao's departure. Her little Tao Tao was truly married now. Initially, Ms. Fang had assumed that Xiaoxian and her son would return to An's province after Tao Tao's departure, leaving her feeling disheartened. The sudden departure of everyone all at once was difficult for her to accept. Upon hearing Xiaoxian's announcement that she would stay home for another 7 or 8 days, Ms. Fang couldn't contain her joy and readily agreed. During those subsequent days, Xiaoxian wandered around the estate once more, paying particular attention to the flower field and the tea house. Tao Tao had been responsible for overseeing the flower field, and upon her departure, she entrusted it to Chunyu. As Tao Tao's assistant, Chunyu was well versed in every aspect of the task, and her heart brimmed with joy at the responsibility bestowed upon her. Meanwhile, Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni expressed eagerness to assist but soon realized they lacked the expertise to fulfill Tao Tao's duties, ultimately resigning from the endeavor. Handing over the responsibility to Chunyu was deemed a wise decision. Both Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni felt that as long as it wasn't entrusted to someone else, everything would be fine. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing for them to handle. Xiao Xian stayed at home for a few more days and stayed at First Madam's place for 3 days. She checked the orchards outside the city, and it was almost April when she returned to the state city of An's. After a lengthy journey, they were finally reunited. Xiao Yunduan remained with Xiao Xian for a few days. Late spring had already ushered in scorching temperatures. Within the final stretch of spring, various flowers and trees brimmed with energy, preparing for the impending summer. The air hung heavy with the sweet scent of blossoms, inducing a sense of lethargy and drowsiness. It was a time when warmth enveloped everything, coaxing people into a state of relaxation, disinclined to engage in any activity. Following a period of rest and recuperation, Xiao Xian caught up with Songshi, Mian Mian, and the others. Subsequently, she summoned Kaiyue and Kaihua, inquiring about any transpired events within the mansion during her absence. Chapter 1994. This is ridiculous. Xiao Xian's inquiry was merely casual. As the mistress of the house, she was merely displaying her demeanor. She hadn't anticipated any significant events occurring within the residence. Her husband's unwavering attachment to her was evident in his gaze, doting, gentle, and brimming with genuine affection. Such sentiments couldn't be feigned. To her surprise, Kaiyue and Kaihua exchanged a peculiar smile. "We've been waiting for the right moment to inform you, madam. It's quite an amusing tale," Kaiyue began. "Yes, indeed. It's rather ridiculous." "Madam, consider it more of a jest," Kaihua chimed in. Perplexed, Xiao Xian shot them a quizzical glance. "You're both being cryptic. Just tell me what's going on." She had assumed that any trouble brewing would involve the Mei family, but it turned out to be the Fan family. It appeared that Fan Ruyan's daughter, Bai Ruerui, had collided with Xiao Yunduan's carriage while Xiao Yunduan was inspecting the road construction near the Fan family's estate. Bai Ruerui, perhaps lost in the scenery, had failed to notice the approaching carriage. Thankfully, Yi was at the reins that day. His strength allowed him to swiftly pull the reins, redirecting the carriage with a forceful maneuver. Otherwise, Bai Ruerui might have suffered severe injuries. Due to the sudden jolt, the carriage's axle and wheels snapped, causing Xiao Yunduan and Qin Yan inside to collide painfully with the carriage walls. The incident left everyone shaken, their bodies drenched in cold sweat as they rushed to assist. Bai Ruerui appeared utterly stunned, her widened eyes and pallid face betraying her shock. When a guard attempted to assist her, she emitted a feeble scream. Finally catching up, the maidservant and elderly woman accompanying her shared in the shock at the sight. Qin Yan assisted Xiao Yunduan out of the carriage, unleashing a torrent of furious rebukes at the Fan family's servants. Had Bai Ruerui not been in tears, he would have scolded her as well. How could she be so careless? It was only thanks to Yi's strength and quick action that the situation hadn't turned tragic. Observing the aftermath, the servants from the Fan family realized the gravity of the situation. They dared not utter a word and instead listened to the admonishments with humility, fully aware of their fault. Bai Ruerui trembled uncontrollably, tears streaming down her face. Having been previously deceived by the Mei family during the Lantern Festival, Xiao Yunduan approached such situations with extreme caution. He had no intention of lingering any longer and delegated the aftermath to Qin Yan and the 3 bailiffs. Opting for a horse, he swiftly departed with Yi and the others. Bai Ruerui, still shaken, mustered the strength to speak through her sobs. Clutching the maid's arm, she attempted to halt Xiao Yunduan's departure. "I deeply regret my actions today. I never anticipated your carriage passing by at that moment. Please, consider moving to the Fan family mansion as a gesture of apology. We can provide you with a new carriage as compensation. If you hadn't swerved to avoid me, I might have. I haven't properly thanked you for saving my life." Xiao Yunduan cast her a cold glance before departing without uttering a word. Struggling to find her voice, Bai Ruerui hesitated, her words caught in her throat. Qin Yan regarded Bai Ruerui with disdain, a sneer curling his lips. "Let's hope this truly was an accident. But if someone is trying to orchestrate harm upon themselves, be warned, think twice. You might end up in a worse predicament." Bai Ruerui, her face buried in her hands, broke into fresh sobs. "Explain yourself," she demanded amidst her tears. Chapter 1995. Anger. Qin Yan let out an even louder snort before falling silent. How could he possibly clarify the situation? He already regretted his earlier words. Could he openly accuse Bai Ruerue of harboring ulterior motives, of attempting to seduce his lord? As the lord's personal attendant, his words carried weight. His previous mockery had stemmed from genuine anger. But if he were to repeat such accusations and Bai Ruerue caught wind of it, what chaos would ensue? It would irreparably tarnish her reputation. Yet, Qin Yan found himself baffled by Bai Ruerue's persistent pursuit. Could she truly harbor such intentions? Was she out of her mind? If that were the case, then it seemed she had come prepared. It was a situation beyond his control. With a decisive turn, Qin Yan distanced himself from Bai Ruerue, opting to ignore her entirely. Unable to chase after him or demand answers, Bai Ruerue was left with her regret, her sobs intensifying. She was truly terrified, utterly shaken. She had believed she had calculated the distance accurately, but the reality had proven far more perilous than she had anticipated. As she watched the hoof barely a foot from her head, poised to descend in the next moment, she was gripped by sheer terror. She thought she had crossed the line and was doomed. To her surprise, she emerged unscathed. In that moment, she felt a pang of regret. Why hadn't she sustained any injuries? If she had been injured, Lord Xiao wouldn't have been able to depart. Qin Yan instructed one of the bailiffs to slowly escort the carriage back to the city while he accompanied two others to return by Ruerue to the Fan family mansion. He recounted the incident to ensure there would be no misunderstandings. Finally, he sternly reprimanded the Fan family. The young master and miss should consider assigning more guards when they venture out. If a similar incident were to occur again, luck might not be on their side. Following that day, Bai Ruerue appeared before Xiao Yunduan on 3 additional occasions, twice accompanied by Fan Ruyan. Xiao Yunduan's patience reached its limit, and he publicly scolded them both. Bai Ruerue and her mother left in disgrace, much to the amusement of onlookers. Xiao Xian's lips twitched at the account. Her husband seemed to attract the attention of such incompetent women. Have you uncovered the reason behind Miss Bai's behavior? She inquired. Kai Hua and Kai Yue shook their heads, indicating they were unaware of any underlying reasons behind Bai Ruerue's behavior. However, rumors circulated that the 2 elder masters of the Fan family were highly displeased with the situation, leading to confrontations with Fan Ruyan. They were adamant about putting an end to the antics of the mother and daughter duo. Nevertheless, it seemed the old lady of the Fan family was more concerned about her kin, causing further turmoil. Xiao Yunduan hadn't mentioned any of this to Qiao Xian, suggesting he hadn't unearthed any significant revelations. Qiao Xian pondered briefly but opted not to inquire further. To both of them, this appeared to be a trivial matter not worth dwelling on. Aware of the situation, Qiao Xian resolved to remain vigilant. Could it be that the incompetents from the Fan family sought to emulate the Mei family's failed attempt? What if they succeeded? Would that not demonstrate their superiority over the Mei family? Unbeknownst to her, Bai Ruerue had narrowly avoided a grave incident when she halted the carriage that day. Subsequently, she faced repeated questioning from Fan Ruyan. Initially, Bai Ruerue had attempted to deceive her, but Fan Ruyan wasn't one to be fooled twice. Bai Ruerue's attitude toward Qiao Xian had notably shifted during the previous home banquet, leaving Qiao Xian unsettled. And now, she narrowly escaped another collision with Prefect Xiao's carriage. An accident? Fan Ruyan dismissed the notion entirely. Chapter 1996. Dream. Fan Ruyan staunchly refused to believe that her daughter would intentionally endanger herself by rushing out to stop the carriage. Her recent mood had soured considerably. Her relationship with her mother had deteriorated, leaving her feeling partly responsible for the decline of the Fan family. She was certain her mother held her accountable for their misfortunes. As for her brothers and sisters-in-law, they treated her as the scapegoat, eagerly wishing to cast her out. Even the servants within her courtyard bore the brunt of the household's turmoil. But she felt powerless to change the situation. At times, she couldn't help but feel a sense of disappointment. She had been groomed to be the elder miss of the Fan family since childhood. Why should she be forced into marriage as an adult? Why couldn't she assert her rightful position as the miss of the Fan family? Who had the authority to look down upon her? While she could bear the scorn from others, there were moments when the injustice burned within her like a raging fire. Yet, even her own flesh and blood daughter dared to deceive her. How could she tolerate such betrayal? Fan Rian was no fool, particularly in matters of sensitivity. This time, Bai Ruirui's attempts at deception fell flat. Pushed to her breaking point, she tearfully confessed the truth. However, the truth resembled more of a fabrication, stoking Fan Rian's wrath to new heights. Bai Ruirui's tears only intensified after being scolded for her honesty, her heart heavy with grievance. Witnessing her daughter's distress, Fan Rian wavered once more. Perhaps this time, she should believe her daughter's account. After all, her anguish seemed genuine. However, the story seemed too fantastical to be true. Fan Rian consoled Bai Ruirui and delved further into the details. Eventually, she found herself inclined to believe her daughter's tale. Bai Ruirui confided in her mother, revealing that during a bout of high fever, she had entered a dreamlike state. In this dream, she gleaned insights and knowledge. She became aware that Xiao Yunduan wasn't just an ordinary prefect. He was destined for greatness. The dream, with its vivid and surreal nature, left her shaken. Initially skeptical of such phenomena, Bai Ruirui found herself astounded when events unfolded in the following days, aligning with her dream. In light of this revelation, how could Bai Ruirui harbor any doubts? Moreover, considering Xiao Yunduan's remarkable achievements at such a young age and his promising future, it was plausible that he would encounter influential figures even in the remote region of An's province. With the impending closure of the village shop, Bai Ruirui couldn't bear to let the opportunity slip through her fingers. If the chance was within reach, why should she relinquish it? Regardless of the risks, getting close to Xiao Yunduan seemed like a gamble worth taking. Fan Rian and her daughter felt a surge of determination and fervor. Though her siblings-in-law now despised her, blaming her for the family's woes, Fan Rian harbored visions of a future where her daughter's success would elevate the Fan clan to new heights. If her daughter could bring glory to the family and support its prosperity, what recourse would her detractors have then? When the time came, she vowed to exact revenge for the humiliation they inflicted upon her. They would rue the day they underestimated her. It wasn't too late to seek retribution, and Fan Rian was prepared to endure any hardships. Thus, Bai Ruirui and her daughter began to strategize. However, their attempts ended in repeated failures, becoming fodder for gossip and causing considerable embarrassment to the elder masters of the Fan family. Eventually, they were placed under house arrest, with even old Lady Fan withholding her support. Frustrated and desperate, Fan Rian and her daughter exhausted every avenue to no avail. They could only bide their time at home, seething with anger and anxiety. With Madame Xiao back in the picture, stirring up trouble was out of the question. It was best to exercise patience for now. After all, opportunities would surely arise. Due to this, Qiao Xian returned to An City without encountering any further disturbances. Fan Rian and her mother seemed to have ceased causing trouble altogether. Chapter 1997, Spring Farming. As spring plowing approached, the pace of road construction in An's province slowed temporarily. Labor became scarce as the priority shifted to preparing the fields for planting. After the fields were plowed, seedlings were planted, and crops like melons and beans were sown, there would be another surge of activity following the Dragon Boat Festival. Funds were allocated, and road repairs focused on widening and reinforcing existing foundations. Though there were numerous twists and turns requiring alterations, the workload remained manageable. Repair efforts had already commenced in the 8 towns closest to the state city, requiring minimal adjustments. Barring any unforeseen tensions, the remaining 9 locations, including Hundred Spirit Town and Gulwan Town, the furthest away, were slated for completion by August 15th. Upon completion, the repaired road would significantly enhance travel convenience for commoners, reducing travel time and effort for ox carts and other modes of transportation. The populace lauded the prefect state's lord as a benevolent leader, dedicated to serving the people's needs. Meanwhile, the procurement of rice seeds for An's province followed the customary practices of the Great Qin Empire, overseen by government supervision. Local merchants collaborated to fulfill this task, though their profit margins remained slim due to low prices. Despite the minimal financial gain, these merchants participated out of obligation rather than expectation of profit. Despite the lack of profitability, those eligible still vied for the opportunity, eager to secure their share of the benefits. While the business trip itself may not yield substantial gains, it carried its own advantages. Firstly, it could foster a favorable relationship with the lord of the prefect. Secondly, the government might offer discounts or compensations elsewhere, ensuring it was not a loss overall. With potato planting season approaching, Qiao Xian instructed Xianxia and Lu Fu to remind others not to overlook this task. Many had indeed forgotten about planting potatoes until the reminder. Hastily, they retrieved the potato seeds stored in the corners of their cellars. The community held great respect and trust for Lord Xiao, recognizing his efforts in combating banditry and improving infrastructure. Given Madame Xiao's emphasis on the importance of potatoes, it was evident they held significant value and should be planted with care. Many families who did not buy potatoes to plant at that time even asked around to see if anyone could give them some. Qiao Xian couldn't contain her joy upon hearing the news. It was a tremendous relief. She was confident that An's province would yield a bountiful potato harvest this year. With the successful cultivation this year, future reminders would become unnecessary as the scale of potato cultivation naturally expanded. The versatility of potatoes made them invaluable. They could serve as both a staple food and a vegetable. It would be foolish not to plant them. Although An's province boasted abundant fields, potatoes were undeniably a game-changer. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yinduan had become prominent landowners in An's province, with ownership of 60,000 mu of fertile land, a significant holding. However, Qiao Xian entrusted the management of the planting to the housekeeper, showing little interest in the specifics. She merely visited occasionally to inspect new crops like peppers, star anise, and spices, applying her expertise to ensure optimal growth. With the spring plowing season underway and no major issues to attend to, Qiao Xian found herself with ample free time. With peace reigning in the countryside and Jia Hemming's capable leadership, troublemakers were deterred. Taking advantage of the lull, Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian decided to treat Anan to a visit to Liuhe Manor for a few days. Chapter 1998, Liuhe Manor. Liuhe Manor was steadily taking shape, with both the upper and lower sections of the mountain estate already constructed. Every detail was meticulously attended to, with completion expected by year's end. The main courtyard was now inhabitable, offering Qiao Xian and her companions a comfortable place to stay for a few days. Despite it being the prime season for planting and animal husbandry, Qiao Xian couldn't shake off her concerns about leaving them unattended. On this particular day, they set out quietly with a small entourage. The road leading from the official route to Liuhe Manor had been funded by Qiao Xian herself. It was her first time walking along it since its completion. The road was impressively wide, accommodating the passage of 2 carriages with ease. In accordance with Qiao Xian's specifications, the road surface was covered with a layer of gravel, compacted by massive rolling stones to minimize the roughness typical of dirt roads. Despite the durability of a dirt road, it was prone to developing potholes of various sizes over time, especially after exposure to the elements. Additionally, it was susceptible to water accumulation. A gravel road offered superior resilience in these regards. Resistant to the elements and facilitating faster drainage, the gravel surface promised quicker drying, even in the face of wind and rain. Trees were planted along both sides of the road, spaced evenly to create a symmetrical appearance. Approximately 5 miles along the official road, the landscape transitioned to pine trees, followed by Yinxing trees further ahead. The Yinxing saplings, each the size of an egg, already towered over human height. Tall and slender with sturdy main stems and long, delicate branches, they were a vibrant sight in late spring as their leaves unfurled. Though still young, they exuded a vitality that promised eventual shade and shelter from the sun. Empowered by Qiao Xian's influence, these trees would grow at an accelerated rate, transforming the road significantly within just 2 years. The mountainside was dotted with farms, sparking Xiao Xian's excitement at the prospect of staying there. She marveled at the advanced facilities and expansive vistas. From her vantage point, she could admire the starry skies at night and revel in the misty mornings, basking in the beauty of the rugged wilderness. However, Xiao Yunduan gently suggested, perhaps it's best to stay at the foot of the mountain. Climbing up and down multiple times a day can be quite exhausting, don't you think? Though Xiao Xian hadn't considered this aspect, his words prompted her realization that ascending the mountain would indeed be time-consuming and laborious. Grateful for his insight, she chuckled nervously. You're right. I hadn't thought of that. In that case, I'll stay at the foot of the mountain. It's much more convenient. It was a shame. There was something special about living on the mountain. Seeing the longing in Xiao Xian's eyes, Xiao Yunduan offered a solution. We can spend the night on the mountain before we leave and return home the following day. Xiao Xian's face lit up with joy as she eagerly agreed. The manor at the mountain's base had been anticipating their arrival and was fully prepared. Xianxia personally led his men to receive them, offering warm greetings before guiding them to the main courtyard. Along the way, he provided updates on the villa's progress, noting that some areas were still under construction. Xiao Xian nodded, instructing Lixia to ensure that visitors didn't disturb the ongoing construction sites. After checking in with Xianxia, she strolled to the farmstead and spent time with Anan, refraining from venturing further. Anan, nearing 9 months old, displayed newfound mobility, eagerly exploring her surroundings. With a gleeful smile, she proudly presented Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan with handfuls of green foxtails, delighting in her discoveries. The next day, Nanny and the others were still playing with Anan in the manor, while Xiao Yunduan was going out with Xiao Xian. Chapter 1999. Mountain. At this time of year, the outdoors teemed with mosquitoes and various insects, especially in the mountainous regions where strange bugs and ants abounded. Anan, being fair-skinned and delicate, was a prime target for mosquitoes. Staying within the confines of the manor provided a safer environment. Anan remained captivated by the novelty of the surroundings. Spotting a pair of rabbits in the farmstead, she gleefully fed them vegetable leaves, her delight evident. Xiao Xian had purchased 100,000 mu of land in Lioha Manor. However, developing such vast acreage required time and resources. Currently, they had successfully developed around 70,000 mu, but due to a labor shortage, their workforce had dwindled to just 40 individuals, down from a peak of 300. Considering the challenges posed by the mountainous terrain, mosquitoes, snakes, ants, and rampant wild grass, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan decided to halt further exploration for the time being and wait for autumn and winter. Xiao Yunduan agreed, noting, "Indeed, the mountains are overrun with mosquitoes, snakes, and ants, while the vegetation grows unchecked. It's not conducive for exploration. Well, wait it out." The risk of encountering hazards outweighed the benefits, potentially causing significant disruption if any mishaps were to occur. Given their statuses as the prefect and the prefect's wife, Xiao Xian addressed Xianxia decisively, "If that's what Lord Xiao wishes, then let it be so. Inform the workers to depart tomorrow. Make sure to remember their names, and when we hire more labor in late autumn, prioritize rehiring them." Xianxia readily acquiesced, offering a smile as he pledged to convey the instructions to the workers personally. He had been tasked with the hiring process by Xiao Xian herself. Having overseen numerous hirings in the past, Xianxia understood the intricacies involved. Wages, daily meal allowances, medical supplies, tools for cultivating the wasteland, each aspect required meticulous handling to prevent any mismanagement. While it might have been tempting for others to exploit such opportunities for personal gain, Xianxia remained steadfast in his integrity. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan trusted his character, and he was wise enough not to jeopardize his position with any imprudent actions. However, the same could not necessarily be said for all junior managers. Xianxia recognized the potential for misconduct and ensured that strict oversight was maintained to prevent any mishaps. The cultivated wasteland had been sown with a variety of herbs, including false starworts, Gastrodia elata, King Solomon's seal, crowdipper, pseudo-ginseng, and angelica, as per Xiao Xian's directives. At this moment, the medicinal herbs had all reached maturity, easily recognizable with a single glance. However, the growth of the small seedlings was uneven, a common occurrence in cultivation. Xiao Xian diligently applied her wood power every time she inspected the area, a practice she continued today. A significant portion of the land had been enclosed on the side of the call, as well as the opposite kernel. Additionally, 2 plots of land in another nearby forest had also been enclosed. Within these enclosures, tall and spacious wooden sheds and houses had been constructed, surrounded by a flat expanse of land adorned with lush grass, plentiful bushes, and several towering trees. Massive rocks adorned with various vines added to the natural beauty of the surroundings. Observing from a distance, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan admired the scene. Throughout the area, chicken farms dotted the landscape. Currently, one of these farms housed 500 chickens, consisting of 100 adults and 150 young chicks weighing less than a catty. In the future, only 2 out of the 4 areas would raise chickens simultaneously, with a rotation every 2 years. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2000. Chicken Farm. From a distance, Xiao Yunduan could observe a flock of chickens roaming within the enclosure, their movements occasionally intercepted by the fishing nets. Every so often, the air was filled with the resonant crowing of roosters. I made inquiries specifically about villagers skilled in poultry farming. They hired workers for 2 taels of silver a month and dispatched 3 clever assistants to provide aid. They've also been learning some valuable techniques. This old man is truly competent. He's been tending to these chickens since they were mere chicks. When he acquired them, there were just as many as there are now. Once they mature, we can acquire more. Xiao Xian had determined the appropriate size for each chicken farm, each accommodating up to 6,000 chickens. However, it was still too early for that scale of operation. Additionally, several mu of land remained at the base of the chicken farms, designated for cultivating vegetables to feed the poultry. Xiao Xian smiled. Proceed with caution, no more than 1,000 chickens this year. Songshi felt the allocation was rather conservative. He wanted to voice his opinion but hesitated. Eventually, he acquiesced, saying, "Understood." Xiao Xian gave him a meaningful glance and offered a reminder. Ensure the chicken coops are cleaned and ventilated daily. With the weather warming up and mosquitoes becoming more abundant, it's imperative that the chicken's food and water remain fresh. Furthermore, smoke the coop with wormwood daily to ward off pests. Should a chicken plague arise, it won't be a trivial matter. Given the expertise of the individual you've enlisted for chicken farming, they must understand the significance of proper care, remarked Xiao Xian. Initially cautious, Songshi refrained from further comment upon hearing Xiao Xian's words. The duck farm was situated in the adjacent valley, a visit to which was planned for the following day. With this in mind, the group departed back to the village. Ordinarily, Ainen would have been fast asleep by now, but today's excitement kept her wide awake. As Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan approached the village, they could hear Ainen's delighted laughter ringing out from afar. Curious as to what was causing such amusement, they hastened their pace. Upon arrival, they discovered Ainen gleefully playing with 2 rabbits. One of the rabbits had its leg tied with a rope, the other end of which Ainen held firmly. With evident pride, Ainen repeatedly exclaimed, "Bunny! Bunny!" as she paraded around with the restrained rabbit. The nanny and maidservants present joined in the laughter, thoroughly enjoying the spectacle. Spotting her parents, Ainen's joy only intensified. Steadied by the nanny, she dashed toward Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, still clutching the rope and proudly displaying her furry companions. "Bunny!" she exclaimed, beaming as she embraced her parents. Xiao Xian was overjoyed and moved closer, wrapping Ainen in a warm embrace. The trio enjoyed some playful moments together before eventually coaxing Ainen to release the rope and accompany them back to the house for snacks. Lunch was soon served, with a delightful spread laid out before Xiao Xian and the others. There were stir-fried chives with shrimp sourced from the nearby stream, crispy river fish, dried meat bamboo shoots, cold vegetables with garlic, and pigeon soup. The fish and prawns were freshly caught from the nearby stream, which flowed from the depths of the forest. The water was cool and crystal clear, teeming with small shrimps and fish the size of fingers. After the hearty meal, Anan finally succumbed to sleep, peacefully drifting off. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2001. Untrustworthy. The nanny gently laid Anan down on the bed, covering her with a small blanket. With the window open, a soft breeze entered the room, gently rustling the curtains. Meanwhile, Xiaoxian carried a bamboo basket, leading Xiao Yunduan up the mountain in search of mushrooms or wild vegetables. With one hand holding Xiaoxian's, Xiao Yunduan took the basket with the other, their steps light and their conversation lively. While Lixia and the others were accustomed to such scenes, it was a rare sight for many of the servants in the manor. Witnessing their master's affectionate and carefree demeanor, they were left astounded, their eyes widening in disbelief. This was the lord of the prefectural state, the esteemed official of An's province. Who would have thought that the lord, known for his public authority, would reveal such a tender and intimate side in private? In the past, the area had been avoided due to the presence of mountain bandits from Lioha Fort. Yet now, with the bandits gone, the forest was untouched, offering an abundance of mushrooms and wild vegetables. Xiaoxian skillfully navigated through the woods, leading Xiao Yunduan towards the areas where mushrooms thrived. Before long, they had gathered half a basket of mushrooms. The fresh scent of mushrooms mingled with the earthy aroma of the spring forest, creating a pleasant atmosphere. Spotting tender dandelion seedlings and mustard, Xiaoxian couldn't resist picking more. She even discovered a cluster of plump and tender wild wolfberries. Gathering a handful, she suggested to Xiao Yunduan with a smile that they should remember this spot and have someone transplant the wild wolfberries to the manor. That way, they could enjoy fresh wolfberry sprouts all year round. Xiao Yunduan smiled in agreement, taking note of her suggestion. With plenty of time left, the sky remained a clear, flawless blue, like high-quality glass. The sunlight bathed the landscape in a warm glow, casting bright beams across the mountains and rivers. As the sunlight filtered through the foliage, illuminating the forest, the gentle mountain breeze caused the plants to sway and rustle. Light and shadows danced in a mesmerizing display, with the grass and leaves shimmering like silver in the sunlight. Taking Xiaoxian's hand, Xiao Yunduan led her to a nearby hill, surrounded by dense foliage and offering a panoramic view of the mountains and rivers. Basking in the warm sunlight, they sat together, feeling content and relaxed in each other's company. Xiaoxian relaxed and leaned against Xiao Yunduan lazily, her body melting into his embrace as if she had no bones. Nestled in his arms, she murmured softly, I'm so sleepy. I want to sleep. Xiao Yunduan chuckled, pressing a gentle kiss to her lips before tightening his arms around her. Then sleep, my love. With a contented smile, Xiaoxian nodded. Yes, I will. Finding a comfortable position in his embrace, she closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep. However, it seemed that Xiao Yunduan's promise was not entirely reliable. Upon returning to the village, Xiaoxian's cheeks were still flushed, her lips tinged with a rosy hue. Her hair, neatly arranged, framed her face delicately as she cast a glance at the man beside her. Beside her, Xiao Yunduan appeared even more tender and attentive. He even offered to carry her back, his affection for her evident in every gesture. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2002. Duck Farm. In the evening, Xiaoxian prepared a hearty chicken stew, simmering tender chicken pieces with red dates, wolfberries, and huaishan medicine. Alongside, she cooked an array of mushrooms, wild vegetables, and bamboo shoots, creating a delicious feast. Anan, with a new baby tooth emerging, eagerly nibbled on some chicken, relishing the flavor. Xiaoxian also made him a bowl of noodles with chicken soup, which he devoured with gusto, emptying more than half of the bowl. Though the mountains seemed quiet, occasional cries of strange birds echoed from the distant valleys and forests, their rhythmic calls haunting yet oddly comforting in the stillness of the night. In the safety and warmth of the villa, surrounded by the soothing sounds of nature, Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan found solace and tranquility. Even Anan, unfazed by the eerie cries, widened her eyes and perked up her ears, giggling in delight at the unfamiliar sounds. The following day, Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan took Anan to explore the valley and visit the pond where the ducks resided. The valley was expansive and flat, stretching without ascent into the mountains. The weather was clear, and the insect population relatively sparse. Xiao Yunduan carried Anan in his arms, opting not to have the nanny accompany them. Besides Xianxia, Lixia, and Kaiyan, only Yi and his 2 subordinates joined them. As per Xiao Xian's instructions, there were 3 duck ponds. One served as a free-range area, while the other 2 could be used for simultaneous rearing. Typically, the ducks were rotated every 10 days. During daylight hours, the ducks were allowed access to the ponds, while at night, they were kept elsewhere. Given the flowing water, this arrangement sufficed. Each pond occupied roughly 20 mu, with duck sheds erected nearby. Each pond housed 4,000 to 5,000 ducks. Although this setup was relatively spacious, the lack of medicinal interventions in ancient times necessitated a cautious approach. Additionally, the valley boasted numerous canals, measuring 1.5 to 1.6 meters in width, that crisscrossed the landscape. Once aquatic plants took root, these canals would serve as excellent environments for duck rearing. The duck farm was situated atop the land, encircled by a series of canals. These canals, resembling winding sutras, served as the initial conduits for the pond water. Eventually, the water would flow into an artificial canal, which in turn fed several interconnected ground reservoirs for irrigation. Subsequently, it would merge into a distant stream, ensuring it didn't affect the villa's drinking water. Currently, only 1 duck farm was operational, housing ducks at various stages of growth. Those raised over a month ago had shed their downy feathers and grown proper plumage. Approximately 600 ducks frolicked in the pond, their pudgy forms exuding vitality as they swam and vocalized. Anan, filled with excitement, pointed eagerly at the ducks, yearning to break free from her father's embrace and join them. Xiaoxian gently pinched her cheek and chuckled, "You're quite adventurous, but you can't go into the water." Little Anan seemed completely unafraid, even mimicking the ducks' quacking sounds with delight. Enjoying their time by the pond, Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan lingered a while longer, enchanted by the ducks' antics. With Anan by their side, the family of 3 reveled in the simple joy of the moment. Meanwhile, Yi and the others maintained a watchful vigil nearby. Suddenly, his brow furrowed, a sense of unease settling in his heart. In the bright sunlight, anything reflective was easily noticed. Just a moment ago, he inadvertently glanced toward the nearby hill and caught a glint of metal, a telltale reflection that set his senses on edge. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2003, Strange Light. Although it was only for a moment, Otto was sure that he could not have seen wrongly. In just an instant, it was enough to confirm something. Or rather, in just an instant he did not dare to take the risk. He secretly regretted it. This used to be a bandit nest. Why was he so assured? He should have brought a few more subordinates out. Thinking about how Lord and Madam had insisted on their privacy during yesterday's mushroom and wild vegetable picking excursion in the mountains, he couldn't shake off the sense of unease, breaking out in a cold sweat. Thankfully, yesterday passed without incident. But now, what was his course of action? He was clueless about the strength and numbers of potential adversaries. He couldn't even risk informing the 2 subordinates trailing behind him, fearing that any sign of tension might tip off the other party. The situation could turn dire. While the manor boasted many skilled subordinates, it was clear that help from afar might not arrive in time to avert disaster. I took a deep breath and made his way toward Xiao Yunduan. Yet, he couldn't keep this information from his lord. He needed to seek his lord's counsel. His lord's intellect surpassed his own. Surely, there was a solution. Observing I's approach, Xiao Yunduan handed Anan over to Xianxia and stood up. As he drew near, Xiao Yunduan gestured for him to speak in hushed tones. Lord, listen carefully without turning around. It appears there's an ambush on the eastern hill. I'm uncertain of their identity or motives. Xiao Yunduan's eyes gleamed. In that moment, his thoughts mirrored ice. I've been negligent. Considering this location's history as a former bandit stronghold, the presence of others might not raise eyebrows. But if he, the prefect lord notorious for wiping out 3 villages, were recognized, the situation could escalate. He should have brought reinforcements when venturing out. If indeed targeted, escape now seemed futile. With only Yi and the 2 others, facing a potentially larger assailant group would prove challenging. Except for the trio, the rest were mere civilians lacking combat prowess. Despite their anxiety, they could offer little assistance. Well, stall for time. I'll send Lixia, Kaiyun, and the others back to summon aid. Stay vigilant. Yi acknowledged. Xiao Yunduan, disinclined to conceal facts, beckoned for Lixia's approach. Lixia, having accompanied them to Qingdi, possessed resilience. Unfazed by Xiao Yunduan's directive, he nodded with a composed smile, departing with Kaiyun. A sigh of relief escaped Xiao Yunduan. These 2 were dispensable, and had their exposure not been swift, their departure would have mattered little. However, if the adversary remained vigilant and resolute on detaining all present, escape might prove futile. When Xiao Yunduan told Lixia to be careful. Unexpectedly, before Lixia and the others could take more than a few steps, 2 arrows whistled towards them. He swiftly intercepted, his sword deflecting the projectiles. Simultaneously, terror-stricken, Lixia and company instinctively pivoted to flee. How could they dare to advance? Yet, fleeing forward wasn't an option. They didn't even get the chance. 15 masked assailants clad in green materialized from the foliage, hurtling towards Xiao Yunduan's trio. Lixia and Kaiyun shrieked, huddling around Xiaoxian. Even Song's countenance paled. Xiao Yunduan clasped Anan tightly, shielding him from the unfolding chaos. He positioned Xiaoxian behind him, shielding her as well. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2004. Assassin blew the bamboo whistle, its shrill tone echoing through the valley, piercing the clouds. Regret gnawed at Xiaoxian. Never did she anticipate an assassination attempt on her husband. Her lapse in vigilance was unforgivable. Had she been more vigilant, she would have detected the lurking assailants and dispatched them without hesitation. Yet all was not lost. Thanks to the vast expanse of the flat valley, Xiaoxian and her companions stood by the pond, a considerable distance from the hillside. Even if the attackers mounted a surprise assault, they couldn't materialize before them in an instant. This granted Xiaoxian an opportunity to retaliate. Restrained by the distance and dense foliage, Xiaoxian couldn't afford bold actions. She had to proceed cautiously. Consequently, Yi and the 2 guards, confronting a formidable foe, stood guard before their masters, refraining from initiating an attack. Helplessly, they witnessed as the 15 assailants, who had leaped forth, were swiftly impeded by the terrain, stumbling over grass and rocks in the blink of an eye. Screams pierced the air. Xiaoxian unleashed her full force without hesitation. She sent 6 assailants tumbling, intensifying her assault. The dense and resilient grass threatened to snap their ankles, while tiny thorns, ordinarily benign, transformed into vicious projectiles, piercing their flesh. Not only were Xiao Yunduan and dumbfounded by the agonizing cries, but the 9 remaining attackers, too, faltered. They instinctively slowed their advance, casting bewildered glances at their fallen comrades. The leader's rebuke snapped them back to reality. With renewed focus, they disregarded their fallen allies, pressing forward with lethal intent. Xiaoxian lamented the swift approach of their assailants, realizing she had no choice but to relent, at least for the moment. If the situation escalated to a life-or-death crisis, she would have to cast aside all restraint, yet, for Yi and his companions, the reduced enemy count provided a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. Standing by the pond, with its vast expanse behind them acting as a natural barrier, the trio only needed to fend off the frontal assault, ensuring Lord and Madam's safety. If they could endure for just 15 minutes at most, Sun Bai from the villa would surely arrive with reinforcements. Aya's gaze swept over the 6 fallen foes, their struggles futile. Relief flooded his heart as he silently prayed, "May the heavens be on our side." The injuries inflicted upon those 6 individuals proved unexpectedly severe. Not only did they suffer a loss of more than a third of their fighting capability, but their morale also took a significant hit. Ai sensed a palpable stagnation in the killing intent emanating from the 9 assailants who charged forward. It no longer bore the ferocity of their initial onslaught. This shift in dynamics worked in his favor. As the 9 closed in, Ai's lips curled into a cold smile. With a swift motion, he unsheathed his sword, a glint of silver flashing as he surged ahead. Another guard followed suit, brandishing his own blade and joining the fray. Meanwhile, the remaining guards stood steadfast, positioned protectively before Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan, vigilant against any potential attacks. Ai showed no mercy, delivering a powerful kick that sent one of the assailants hurtling away. The unfortunate individual let out a blood-curdling scream as he crashed to the ground, his body convulsing in agony. Though this tactic effectively sapped the enemy's vitality, it also stoked their fury, bolstering their morale. It was evident that the assassin's aura surged once more, fueled by indignation and determination. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2005. Like water, the assassin's relentless onslaught targeted Xiao Yunduan. Despite Yi and his brother's valiant efforts, they couldn't hold them off indefinitely. While the brothers could withstand the assault for a time, facing 8 assailants proved overwhelmingly challenging. Xiao Xian's expression darkened as she grasped Xiao Yunduan's sleeve, her voice barely a whisper, "Husband, let's take refuge in the water." Seeking sanctuary in the pond would alleviate some of the pressure on Yi and the others. Furthermore, it would provide an opportunity for additional assistants to join the fray. Xianxia, clutching a thick bamboo pole, nodded in agreement. "Indeed, Lord. It's our best chance." "Then let's make our move." Xiao Yunduan wasted no time, disregarding the pond's chill. They plunged into the water, navigating the depths with difficulty. Bracing himself at the rear, Xianxia wielded the bamboo pole defensively, his complexion drained of color. Anan, initially protesting his father's embrace, continued to resist, delivering feeble punches. Yet, Xiao Yunduan remained unmoved, his resolve unyielding. The little one's cries of frustration echoed in the air. Once submerged, Xiao Yunduan released his hold, allowing Anan to perch on his shoulders, his gaze fixed on the watery expanse below. He gripped Anan firmly with one hand while securing the back of his head with the other, preventing him from turning. Yet, even this slight glimpse was enough to ignite the little one's excitement as she spotted ducks in the distance, giggling gleefully and exclaiming, "Duck!" Xiao Xian gazed at her son with a mixture of fondness and sorrow, her emotions teetering between laughter and tears. In this dire moment, only the innocence of this child could elicit a smile. Witnessing this tender moment, the guard who had shielded them sprang into action, sword drawn, engaging the assailants. Ai, honed by rigorous training under Sun Bai and Sun Qian and renowned for his valor during the eradication of mountain bandits, faced off against 3 assailants alone without faltering. Meanwhile, the other 2 guards struggled to contain the remaining 5 attackers, caught in a precarious position. Desperately, the 5 assailants pressed forward, determined to breach the defense line and reach the safety of the pond. With the trio's defenses wavering, anxiety surged within them, yearning for the reinforcements promised by Sun Bai and his cohorts. With a resounding splash, an assassin leaped into the water, followed by another. Cold dread gripped Yi and his comrades' hearts. Without hesitation, Yi wielded his long sword with lightning speed, driving back the trio with forceful strikes. With a swift leap, he plunged into the pond, creating a sizable splash. The 2 assailants who had entered the water earlier hadn't made much headway. The water's resistance and muck hindered their movement, diminishing their martial prowess significantly. Yi wasted no time, homing in on one of the submerged assailants and closing the distance with alarming speed. As he closed in, he swiftly drew his sword, driving it into the man's chest. A piercing scream echoed before the assailant succumbed to death, his body sinking into the crimson-stained water. However, Yi's momentum carried him further, and he too plummeted into the water with a resounding splash. Sensing the imminent threat, the remaining assailant attempted to strike, but his skills paled in comparison to Yi's, his attack missing its mark. On the shore, the assassins seethed with fury. Plop, plop. Like a synchronized motion, they leaped into the pond one after another. Witnessing this, the two guards exchanged a glance before leaping into the water without hesitation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2006, Resolution. The sudden commotion jolted the tranquil expanse of the pond, startling the ducks into a panicked frenzy. Observing the startled waterfowl, Xiao Yunduan gestured for Xianxia to approach with the bamboo pole, intending to further agitate them and drive them away. Meanwhile, Xiao Yunduan and the others pressed on, navigating the water's depths with difficulty, heading towards the opposite bank. With a nod, Xianxia hastened over, his movements unsteady. From a distance, he bellowed at the ducks, brandishing the bamboo pole to splash the water forcefully. The pond, spanning over 20 mu, roughly the size of a football field, provided ample space for housing thousands of ducks. Yet, despite its size, it wasn't boundless. In mere moments after Xianxia's arrival, while he remained at a distance from the hundreds of ducks, the flock erupted into chaos. Led by one daring duck, they surged forward, propelled by the wind. Xianxia grinned with satisfaction, continuing his efforts to drive them away. Driven by Xianxia's actions, the ducks careened wildly towards Yi and his companions. The once placid water surface now churned with chaos. Qiao Xian wasted no time, harnessing her superpower to bolster the feeble water plants at the pond's bottom, transforming them into formidable obstacles. In swift succession, someone's leg became ensnared by the seaweed, causing him to stumble. Before he could regain his footing, a lethal strike found its mark, piercing his heart. Qiao Xian couldn't contain her excitement. Meanwhile, Yi and his comrades were equally invigorated. With only 6 adversaries remaining on the opposing side, the odds were stacked against them. In a 2-against-1 scenario, their advantage dwindled further. The remaining assailants, driven by desperation, launched frenzied assaults on Yi and his companions, their eyes nearly bloodshot with anxiety. Their focus shifted from pursuing Xiao Yunduan and the others to combating the formidable trio. However, their efforts proved futile as they were thwarted at every turn. In a stroke of misfortune, each assailant found themselves ensnared by Qiao Xian's water plants, meeting their demise one by one. The murky water provided perfect concealment for Qiao Xian, her actions shrouded in secrecy. Unbeknownst to anyone, Yi and his companions reveled in their success, assuming the assassins were inept in water. As they dispatched their foes with gusto, they couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Landlubbers were landlubbers. What prowess could they possibly possess in the water? Regardless of their martial arts prowess, they were like fish out of water. In the end, the leader remained alive, albeit unconscious, as Yi subdued him when he attempted to flee. The 2 guards swiftly apprehended him. Xiao Yunduan signaled to Yi. Though Xiao Yunduan shared Yi's puzzlement regarding the assassin's aquatic struggle, he saw it as a stroke of luck. As Sun Bai and his men arrived on the scene, they witnessed Yi delivering the final blow to the leader. Their disbelief was palpable. How was this possible? As soon as they heard Yi's whistle, they immediately ran over and arrived in less than 15 minutes. They didn't expect the battle here to be over? Has he improved even more? Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were escorted back to the manor by Sun Bai and Yi, leaving 6 guards behind to handle the aftermath. Once again nestled in his father's embrace, Anan began to squirm, clearly displeased. Dark. Uncomfortable. Don't. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2007. Escaped. As they returned to the villa, a collective sigh of relief swept through everyone present. After refreshing themselves with a shower and changing into dry clothes, they sat down to savor hot ginger tea. Despite their attempts to move past the harrowing ordeal, the lingering fear persisted. Anin, oblivious to the events, remained curious, yearning to glimpse the unfolding drama she had been shielded from. He longed to catch a glimpse of the ducks that had caused such commotion. As his parents leaped into the pond, Anin's delight bubbled over, his urge to dance and giggle irrepressible. Observing her daughter's innocence, Xiao Xian exchanged a glance with Xiao Yunduan and sighed. I never anticipated that those mountain bandits would harbor such formidable adversaries. Xiao Yunduan's gaze hardened, his agreement tacit. Indeed, it was unexpected. The intensity of their assailants' hatred was unmistakable, indicating a deep-rooted vendetta against Xiao Yunduan, likely stemming from their ties to the mountain bandits. Despite their victory over the bandit threat and the apparent jubilation that followed, Xiao Yunduan, Sun Bai, Sun Qian, and Zheng Sang knew better than to underestimate their enemies. They understood that not everyone would be eradicated in their conquest. Despite outward appearances of triumph and security, there lingered a sense of unease. However, Zheng Sang and his associates remained vigilant, conducting thorough investigations for an extended period. During this time, no one dared to let their guard down. Contrary to appearances, Meng Wanfei's men didn't truly depart. Instead, they dispersed covertly, collaborating with Zheng Sang's team to root out any remaining threats. Their efforts yielded results. Those discovered and evading capture met swift justice, either falling on the spot or being apprehended for hard labor. Only after exhausting all avenues and confirming the absence of any lingering threats did activity gradually cease. Eventually, Meng Wanfei's operatives departed, returning to deliver their findings. Although this didn't guarantee the complete eradication of all potential threats, any remaining individuals were either skilled in concealing their identities and had fled An's province, never to return, or were inconsequential figures. While once invisible within the bandit stronghold, after its destruction, they could only evade detection through careful concealment. Nonetheless, they lacked the capacity to exact revenge. That's why Xiao Yunduan decided to relocate his wife and child to Liuhe Manor. Unexpectedly, trouble found them here. Thankfully, surviving such a perilous ordeal gave them reason to reflect later. Taking Xiao Xian's hands in his own, Xiao Yunduan offered gentle reassurance. The assailants today were skilled fighters, but we've managed to catch most of them. I believe this is an isolated incident. There's no need to fear, my dear wife, no more threats will come. Any further breaches of security would be a failure on his part as the prefect lord. Xiao Yunduan couldn't entertain the idea that Zheng Sang, Sun Bai, and Sun Qian were incompetent. He trusted them implicitly. In truth, he was taken aback by the day's events. Xiao Xian's smile faltered slightly as she confessed, I'm not afraid, but witnessing such violence firsthand has left me unsettled. Recalling the tense moments of the ordeal, she felt a shiver run down her spine. Xiao Yunduan sensed her unease, his heart melting at the sight. His wife must have been deeply shaken by the events. He wondered if she would struggle with nightmares in the nights to come. He resolved to offer her comfort and companionship in the days ahead, particularly during the nights. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2008. It's actually him. Yes, luck was certainly on our side, Xiao Yunduan remarked, feigning obliviousness to Xiao Xian's nervousness. With a playful tone, he added, It's no wonder my mother always said you were blessed. Xiao Xian chuckled. I beg to differ. Xiao Yunduan joined in her laughter. Perhaps you're right. As they conversed, Sun Bai requested an audience, prompting Xiao Yunduan to invite him in. Xiao Xian excused herself, mentioning she would check on their son. Though Xiao Yunduan never kept secrets from his wife, and Sun Bai and their close confidants were aware of this, Jiao Xian preferred not to involve herself in certain matters. Indeed, Sun Bei's visit concerned the captured assassin. Upon learning the reason for Sun Bei's presence, Xiao Yunduan felt a chill run down his spine. He followed Sun Bei to a secluded area of the villa, where the survivor, knocked unconscious by Yi, was held captive and being interrogated by Sun Bei himself. To everyone's astonishment, when the veil was removed from the masked assassin in green, they were shocked to find the third old master of the Mei family beneath. Sun Bei and the others, who had encountered the third old master Mei before, were taken aback by the revelation. Despite their efforts to interrogate him, the third old master Mei remained stoic and unyielding, offering no response to their inquiries. Eventually, he simply shut his eyes, refusing to engage further. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Sun Bei instructed his men to keep a vigilant watch over the captive while he hastened to report to Xiao Yunduan. Equally surprised, Xiao Yunduan wasted no time. He immediately dispatched a Yi to inform Jia Heming at the government office of the startling discovery. Xiao Yunduan instructed Jia Heming to summon the Mei family's masters and stewards back to the government office for further investigation, particularly focusing on the two old masters of the Mei family. Instructing discretion, Xiao Yunduan emphasized the importance of maintaining a low profile and avoiding unnecessary attention. They should someone to enter the Mei family and place everyone in the Mei family under house arrest in a few large courtyards. Even a rough servant was not allowed to leave. I also knew that the assassin was third old master Mei and knew that this was no small matter. He agreed and immediately set off. Fortunately, the road was now clear and easy to traverse. Yi rode Thunderbolt, swift as lightning, ensuring a speedy return to the city. Meanwhile, Xiao Yunduan and the others realized they wouldn't make it back in time and resigned themselves to spending another night at the villa. In a makeshift interrogation room, third old master Mei sat bound to a chair, his disheveled appearance betraying the gravity of his situation. Despite the presence of visitors, he remained unresponsive, refusing to acknowledge their presence. Approaching him, Xiao Yunduan addressed him solemnly. "I never anticipated it would be you, third old master Mei." However, third old master Mei remained stoic, refusing to meet Xiao Yunduan's gaze or engage in conversation. Undeterred, Xiao Yunduan pressed on. "Are you affiliated with the Tiger Head tribe, Liuhe Fort, or the Min family tribe?" The question left third old master Mei visibly startled. Sun Bei, too, was taken aback, his heart sinking at the implication. He wondered if third old master Mei had been coerced by the mountain bandits, forcing him into an attack on his lord. Yet, Xiao Yunduan's unwavering certainty suggested otherwise. The revelation was jarring, leaving them all in shock. Third old master Mei's response was anticipated, but its implications weighed heavily. If he chose silence, did it imply acquiescence to Xiao Yunduan's suspicions? If so, what fate awaited the Mei family? With a derisive sneer, third old master Mei finally lifted his head. "I have no idea what Lord Xiao is insinuating. Are you suggesting I'm a mountain bandit?" He scoffed. "Haha, is Lord Xiao out of his mind? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 2009. You know what to do. Xiao Yunduan's gaze bore into him, his eyes deep and penetrating. "There were aspects that eluded me before, but now they've become clear. Miss Lu, it seems old Master Zhuang has long been affiliated with your Mei family. Was it your plan for him to present the dancer to me, aiming to bind me to your cause?" Third old master Mei was startled, taken aback by the astuteness displayed by the young Lord Xiao. Of course, he couldn't admit to such manipulation. "Lord Xiao, you misunderstand. While it's true we seek to align ourselves with you, it's because of your evident talents at such a young age. Your future prospects are undoubtedly promising. For the Mei family, having you as an ally would be immensely advantageous. Is that so surprising?" Yet as he spoke, third old master Mei felt a surge of indignation. Whether it was wielding power, conducting business, or amassing wealth, the ultimate goal was to indulge in life's pleasures. He refused to believe that officials were devoid of desires for wealth and indulgence. Despite the Mei family's attempts at extending goodwill, Lord Xiao had rebuffed them, even rejecting the advances of a beautiful woman offering herself as an ally. Do not entertain the idea of a jealous woman within the family, Third Old Master Mei mused, dismissing it outright. How could jealousy exist in the world? It was simply a reflection of men's shortcomings. However, Lord Xiao was far from incompetent. If he were, how many individuals in this world could be considered competent? His rejection of the Mei family's offers left Third Old Master Mei feeling frustrated. It seemed Lord Xiao's refusal was resolute. The presence of such an enigmatic figure was infuriating. Realizing their attempts at extending goodwill and seeking protection were futile, the Mei family took a gamble. But they never anticipated failure at the final hurdle. Reflecting on this, Third Old Master Mei grappled with profound dissatisfaction. He couldn't comprehend how their carefully laid plans had been uncovered. Moreover, their defeat at the hands of just 3 opponents was a bitter pill to swallow. In his grief and indignation, Third Old Master Mei questioned whether good fortune truly existed in this world. It was too absurd. This was the first time he had been defeated in such a cowardly manner. Yet he couldn't express his frustration. Xiao Yunduan cast a disdainful glance at him. Your words are mere sophistry. The Mei family holds significant sway in An's province, deeply embedded in its power structures. I haven't even touched the Fan family, let alone you, who have done no wrong. While you may extend friendship, you wouldn't resort to such desperate and unscrupulous measures unless under duress. A family capable of reaching the apex of its region wouldn't act impulsively. If that were the case, you wouldn't have attained your current stature. This is simply your conjecture. It's not unfounded speculation. You know whether it holds truth or not. And speaking of which, you're likely not from the Tiger Head tribe. Otherwise, you wouldn't have taken action today. The Tiger Head tribe had been the first to succumb to the authorities, suffering a devastating defeat. Considering the tribe's concern for its reputation, they wouldn't openly disclose the extent of their downfall. If Third Old Master Mei hailed from the Tiger Head tribe, he would be privy to the truth. Moreover, the Mei family's methods were vastly different from those of the tribal leaders, indicating differing motives. If they had harbored fear, they would have acted preemptively instead of awaiting the authorities' preparations. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2010. Interrogation. Third Old Master Mei was also a mountain bandit, so it was even more implausible for the other 2 members of the Mei family not to be aware of it. Such matters were not merely personal. With his identity, the Mei family would undoubtedly reap significant benefits over the years. Xiao Yunduan pressed on. Now, only the Min family tribe and Liuhe Fort remain. It must be Liuhe Fort, correct? All the leaders of the Min family tribe bear the surname Min, and I doubt you're the type to change your surname. It seems apparent. Xiao Yunduan noted the shock and panic in Third Old Master Mei's eyes, rendering a response unnecessary. Suppressing the turmoil in his heart, Third Old Master Mei retorted, Lord Xiao, if you wish to accuse me, do so directly. Are you attempting to condemn me with such a ludicrous accusation? Xiao Yunduan retorted, you've orchestrated assassinations of court officials. Your fate is sealed. Do you believe the Mei family will remain unscathed? Do you believe it'll spare the Mei family? You! Third Old Master Mei exclaimed. Since you dared to act, you must bear the consequences, Xiao Yunduan declared. A chill swept through Third Old Master Mei. While he anticipated such an outcome, he refused to acknowledge it. He had always harbored confidence in his success, never considering the repercussions of failure. In that moment, Xiao Yunduan laid bare the ramifications of his failure, delivering a devastating blow. Third Old Master Mei insisted in a hoarse voice, I'll bear the consequences of my actions alone. I acted independently, with no involvement from anyone else. The Fan family has learned their lesson, and the Mei family acted in self-defense. I couldn't bear to see the legacy of my ancestors suffer harm, so I acted impulsively. Whatever crime it may be, I accept it. But Lord Xiao cannot implicate others. This has nothing to do with my elder brother and second brother. I am not a mountain bandit. What are you blabbering about? It's too late, Xiao Yunduan sneered. No one from the Mei family will escape. Your words hold no significance. Speak all you want. Those who accompanied you today are all dead, but someone will recognize them. By following the clues, we'll uncover what I seek. And as for your Mei family, I refuse to believe we won't find anything of use. Third Old Master Mei was struck by shock like a bolt from the blue. You! He glared furiously at Xiao Yunduan, struggling against his restraints. He gritted his teeth, longing to leap at him and tear into his flesh. Xiao, you're wicked and ruthless. I want rest until I've repaid you, even in the afterlife. I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Sun Bai stepped forward, delivering a harsh kick to his lower abdomen. Behave yourself, he scolded coldly, or face the consequences. Third Old Master Mei glared at Xiao Yunduan with bloodshot eyes. Unmoved, Xiao Yunduan replied calmly, You're no match for me in life, so what threat do you pose as a ghost? Sun Bai, silence him and ensure he's watched closely. We'll return to the city tomorrow. Yes, Lord. After the harrowing ordeal, both Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were no longer in a playful mood. In fact, as they spent the night in the wilderness, Sun Bai and the others were fraught with nervousness, fearing another untoward incident under cover of darkness. Despite their vigilance, they were still vulnerable in the depths of the mountains. Unexpectedly, in the dead of night, Yi returned with 26 guards. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2011. Shocking the city. Sun Bai and the others were initially shocked, fearing another attack from the Mei family. However, their apprehension turned to relief and joy upon realizing that Yi had returned with reinforcements. At dawn the next morning, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian departed for the city. There was no time to visit the manor in the mountains. They would have to postpone it for another occasion. As they journeyed, they passed countless fruit trees dotting the mountainside, each brimming with vitality and bearing ripe fruit. Xiao Xian had hoped to explore further, but circumstances dictated otherwise. The guards at the gates of An City had been reinforced, with increased patrols throughout the city. Despite Xiao Yunduan's instructions to maintain a low profile, the magnitude of the recent events prompted a heightened response from the authorities. It was inevitable that such a significant occurrence would quickly spread throughout the city. By the time Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian returned, news of the incident had already swept across An City. Shock rippled through the city. Some individuals had already harbored suspicions, and now their hunches seemed validated. Masters, key stewards, and elderly servants of the Mei family found themselves arrested and confined within the city's prison. All household staff were meticulously accounted for and detained according to their rank and gender. Stewards and maids of higher status bound and gagged them to prevent collusion. The Mei family's estate was sealed shut, with strict restrictions on entry and exit. Their shops shuttered, with shopkeepers, accountants, and servers all escorted back to the family residence and incarcerated separately. Manor managers associated with the Mei family faced a similar fate. Though close relatives and friends of the Mei family were not detained, they were discreetly surveilled. Before Xiao Yunduan's return to the city, Jia Heming had efficiently organized everything in an orderly manner. Upon his arrival, Xiao Yunduan wasted no time, ordering his men to investigate the identity and backgrounds of the assassins. He then tasked Jia Heming and Sun Bai with conducting a thorough search of the Mei family's premises. Rest was out of the question. Xiao Yunduan immediately proceeded to interrogate Old Master Mei. Like Third Old Master Mei, First Old Master Mei staunchly denied any involvement. Second Old Master Mei followed suit during his interrogation. All three were seasoned individuals who understood the gravity of the situation. They knew that without concrete evidence from the authorities, admitting to such a serious crime was out of the question. Their regrets only intensified. If they had foreseen the consequences, they never would have allowed third brother to take such a risk. Since the bandits' extermination, he had anticipated that Lord Xiao would eventually lower his guard, presenting an opportunity for a surprise attack. He estimated an 80% chance of success. As a pragmatic businessman, he naturally gravitated towards endeavors with high probabilities of success. Moreover, he felt compelled to act. Without intervention, the specter of danger would forever loom over the Mei family, keeping them in a perpetual state of fear and uncertainty. With nerves on edge, they reached a unanimous decision to proceed with the plan. However, the outcome was a devastating loss. Regret now seemed futile. Jia Hemming and Sun Bei's thoroughness and expertise yielded valuable findings in the Mei family's secret chamber. In just 5 days, the identities of 2 of the assassins who had died had been verified. They were the leaders of Liuhe Fort. The evidence was conclusive, and the Mei family was annihilated overnight. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2012. The Fall of the Mei Family. At this juncture, only one of the 3 prominent clans remained in An's prefecture city. The Bai family and Wen family, now aligned with Xiao Yunduan, began to assert their presence. Historically, the Hua family, the sole remaining clan of the 3, maintained a low profile, appearing weak and uncompetitive. They shunned ostentation, preferring a tranquil existence. Their family members were known for their amiable demeanor. Many sighed in disbelief. Who would have imagined that the once understated Hua family would emerge triumphant? They now stood as the most illustrious among the 3. It became evident that maintaining a low profile was the path to true success. With the fall of the Mei family, the local power dynamics in An's prefecture city underwent a significant shift. All assets under the Mei family's ownership were redistributed. To everyone's surprise, the prefect's wife declined any claims this time. Xiao Xian deemed it unnecessary. With Liuhe Manor's expansive holdings, absorbing too many additional properties would prove burdensome. In the future, when she had the time, expanding her holdings wouldn't pose a challenge. Exploration was well within her capabilities. Furthermore, with the vast expanse of land at Liuhe Manor, it was more than sufficient for dealing with the hidden valley in Meili Town they had previously discovered. Shortly after Xiao Xian and Anan returned to their hometown, Xiao Yunduan arranged for the construction of the hot spring villa. Utilizing local materials to construct a wooden house and utilizing natural water sources to create hot spring pools didn't require intricate designs. Everything was kept simple and straightforward, making the process relatively easy. Ai proposed the idea of establishing a pasture and raising cattle, sheep, and horses. While acquiring cattle and sheep was straightforward, obtaining horses posed a challenge. However, since wild horses roamed the area, arrangements could be made to capture and domesticate them. Xiao Yunduan found the idea intriguing but decided to discuss it with Xiao Xian first before making any commitments. Xiao Xian and her son had only returned home a few days prior, but upon hearing Xiao Yunduan's proposal, she readily lent her support. She believed that even if they couldn't capture the entire herd of wild horses, they could still manage to secure a significant portion alive. With her presence, success was assured. Accessing that area for leisure was effortless for her, and her presence would deflect any suspicions. The vastness of the land made establishing a ranch a lucrative venture. Xiao Xian had little interest in involving herself in the Mei family's affairs. Her reluctance to participate meant the other family clans in An's city faced no opposition. Following a round of competition and behind-the-scenes negotiations, they swiftly divided up the Mei family's assets, tacitly excluding the Fan clan and the Lu clan from the proceedings. Needless to say, Lord Xiao harbored no desire to witness the further development of the Fan family. Moreover, the 3rd daughter of the Lu family had incurred Lord Xiao's wrath, ensuring they wouldn't be allowed to capitalize on the situation. These 2 families seemed oblivious to their standing. While Lord Xiao had shown magnanimity in letting them off, it didn't imply a willingness to tolerate their resurgence. During such tumultuous times, shouldn't those with sense remain low-key and lead a discreet existence? The Lu family, in particular, trembled in fear at the collapse of the Mei family, dreading the possibility of being implicated themselves. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2013. Cheap. If Xiao Yunduan were inclined to seek financial gain, he could have easily resorted to extortion, exploiting the Mei family through exorbitant demands or outright robbery. Yet, Xiao Yunduan wasn't cut from that cloth. He understood well the clandestine nature of the Mei family's operations, recognizing the third old master's past as a mountain bandit, a closely guarded secret within the family. This knowledge was closely guarded. Even the Mei family's closest associates remained unaware. Consequently, Xiao Yunduan maintained a distance from any affiliations tied to the Mei family. Despite some feeling remorseful and attempting to assuage their guilt through clandestine gifts to his office, Xiao Yunduan rebuffed such attempts. Among the gift-givers were the Lu family, though Xiao Yunduan declined their offerings. He discerned the Lu family's innocence in the affair, causing them to breathe a sigh of relief. Observing the Mei family's business heading for auction, the Lu family saw an opportunity to engage without fear of reprisal. In accordance with tradition, the properties up for auction were notably affordable, making them an enticing investment opportunity. Who wouldn't seek to capitalize on such advantageous circumstances? However, to their dismay, they found themselves shunned by other influential family clans, receiving no semblance of respect. The Lu family seethed with anger and resentment. In the past, when the Mei family held sway, no one in An's province would have dared to treat them with such disdain. The Lu family felt the sting of insult added to injury, finding the behavior of others truly despicable. As the Mei family's kin by marriage, they felt entitled to assume control of the family's affairs. Why were they summarily excluded? Their indignation simmered, and they contemplated lodging a complaint with Lord Xiao at the state government office. Yet, fear held them back from taking such bold action. Thus, the Lu family harbored deep regret. If only their daughter had chosen to align herself with Lord Xiao earlier, they lamented, no one would dare to slight the Lu family in this manner. The Lu family found themselves teetering on the edge of temptation, eager to act but restrained by apprehension. Similarly, the Fan clan felt the pull of opportunity but faced the bitter taste of rejection. Their frustration mirrored that of the Lu family. However, unlike the Lu family's emotional investment, the Fan family had approached the situation with measured expectations. Their disappointment, therefore, was tempered by foresight, unlike the Lu family's raw indignation. Fan Rian couldn't resist stoking the flames of resentment in front of old lady Fan. Imagine if Ruerue were to marry Lord Xiao. Suddenly, those who spurned us would scramble to win our favor. They wouldn't dare to turn up their noses or act superior. I never imagined the Mei family harbored such secrets. Lord Xiao, your escape must have been harrowing. They nearly succeeded in their nefarious plans. It truly speaks to your good fortune. As they say, surviving disaster brings blessings. One can only wonder what lies ahead for Lord Xiao. Mother, if Ruerue were to align with him, it could only benefit our family. Mother, wouldn't you like to see our Fan clan restored to its former glory? Old Lady Fan had long been plagued by frustration, disappointment, and simmering anger over the downfall of the Fan family. She rarely ventured outside now, fearing the scorn and mockery of old adversaries. The mere thought of such humiliation was enough to incense her to the core. Driven by this deep-seated fear and desire for vindication, old Lady Fan harbored a fervent longing for the resurgence of the Fan family. With advancing age, she recognized the fleeting nature of time. If the family's fortunes didn't reverse soon, she feared she might never witness their restoration. To her, it was a matter of dying with unfulfilled grievances. As Fan Rian continued to speak, old Lady Fan found herself wavering. Surviving calamity often brings about newfound blessings. Lord Xiao truly seemed to possess an extraordinary fortune. Happiness seemed to follow in his wake. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2014. The most easy way is of a marriage alliance for the Fan family to reclaim its former status. Relying on conventional methods of gradual progression seemed utterly futile. The entrenched opposition from other influential families rendered such a path practically impassable. With limited market opportunities and resources, the Fan clan found themselves precariously positioned, vulnerable to exploitation without a solid foundation. Who among their competitors would willingly allow the Fan clan to rise again? Moreover, the pace of conventional methods felt agonizingly slow. Old Lady Fan fretted that she might not live to witness the family's revival. Given these constraints, the only viable option seemed to be taking a shortcut. And what better shortcut than through a strategic marriage alliance? Old Lady Fan cast a reproachful glance at her daughter, unable to contain her frustration. Your impulsiveness has complicated matters. If only you had consulted me beforehand, we might have had a chance. Now, with by Rueruis impending ridicule looming, mother and daughter found themselves united in their predicament. Lord Xiao's public rebuke had further cemented their unfavorable impression of him. Changing their stance would prove challenging, to say the least. Mom, they say sincerity can soften even the hardest of hearts. Lord Xiao may seem stern, but who doesn't know his virtues? Ruerue holds him in the highest regard, her admiration unwavering. Surely, he must be moved by such genuine admiration? Fan Ruyan's eyes gleamed with hope as her mother began to entertain the idea. She spoke with fervor, fueled by her conviction. Old Lady Fan regarded her daughter with a mixture of bemusement and concern. What had spurred this sudden enthusiasm? While she recognized the potential benefits for the Fan family's future, she couldn't help but wonder if Fan Ruyan's eagerness was excessive. Nevertheless, for the sake of the family's revival, perhaps a gamble was warranted. Yet, she couldn't shake off her reservations about her daughter's fervor. Old Lady Fan's expression turned stern as she admonished, "Enough with your impulsiveness. I don't understand what's gotten into you both. Your antics have already made us the talk of the town. Let the dust settle. Ruerue is only 15, there's no rush." Fan Ruyan said sheepishly, "I was just thinking that since Madame Xiao isn't here and Lord Xiao doesn't have any concubines to serve him, this is a good opportunity." Who knows, Old Lady Fan sneered. Lord Xiao doesn't have any concubines on the surface, but all the maids in the room are at his command. How naive. Do you really think that he has no one to serve him? He just doesn't tell anyone. Fan Ruyan had never thought that this would happen. She was stunned. That can't be, right? If so, why didn't Lord Xiao tell us? It's not like it's a secret, Old Lady Fan remarked knowingly. There's not a cat in this world that doesn't eat fish. With a pointed glance at Fan Ruyan, she seemed to convey, "You still have much to learn. Lord Xiao is a capable man. How could he not be aware? As for his silence, who's to say? Perhaps he deems it unnecessary, or maybe he's simply too indifferent to bother, or he might even be cultivating a reputation for his devout silence." Fan Ruyan hesitated, considering the possibilities. She leaned towards the first reason, unable to fathom a man striving for a reputation based on silence. What kind of reputation was that, indeed? Fan Ruyan couldn't contain her curiosity and pressed Old Lady Fan for answers, impatient for progress. But what could Old Lady Fan do? Though she cherished her daughter, Old Lady Fan found herself increasingly vexed by her persistence. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2015, Truly Worthy. In the end, Old Lady Fan impatiently scolded her daughter, insisting she compose herself. It was uncertain when, but at least a year or two would be required. They couldn't dwell on it incessantly. By Rueruis youth and indulgence likely contributed to Lord Xiao's unfavorable opinion of her. With time on her hands, Fan Ruyan should focus on acquiring valuable skills. That should be her priority. Fan Ruyan couldn't argue with this logic. After some consideration, she resigned herself to wait for a year and a half, no longer feeling the need to rush. During the Dragon Boat Festival, and city bustled with the excitement of the Grand Dragon Boat Race, drawing both Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian into the festivities. It was a vibrant affair. With the successful conclusion of this lively event, the tensions among the prominent families in An's province eased considerably, particularly those with ties to the Mei family. At last, they could breathe a collective sigh of relief. Since then, An's province flourished. Families, merchants, and landowners alike enthusiastically complied with the prefect's directives. The province's economy thrived with each passing day, leading to an improvement in the citizens' quality of life. Xianxia, as the prefect's wife, found herself basking in newfound prestige. Wherever she went, she was met with respectful flattery. In private, she shared a jest with Xiao Yunduan, remarking on the pleasures of being an official spouse. It was a sensation she found strangely addictive. Xiao Yunduan chuckled, encouraging her to indulge in whatever brought her joy. Xiao was delighted by his support. However, she remained level-headed. She had no interest in abusing her power. Instead, she preferred to oversee industry and relish the tranquil life of raising children in the countryside. Hunting, in her opinion, was the epitome of relaxation. Xiao found herself deeply satisfied with the man's demeanor. Following the Dragon Boat Festival, Xiao took charge of arranging Lixia and Song's marriage. For Lixia's dowry, Xiao spared no expense. It included a lavish assortment of items, 40 sets of clothing for all seasons, 20 sets of fine silks, and 20 sets of exquisite gold and silver jewelry. Among these treasures was a set of gold jewelry adorned with gems and pearls, 2 pairs of jade bracelets, a pair of heirloom bottles symbolizing prosperity, and a complete set of mahogany furniture, comprising a canopy bed, wardrobe, dressing table, chest of drawers, and standing screen. And that was merely the tip of the iceberg. Numerous smaller items and a substantial sum of 1,000 taels of silver rounded out the impressive dowry. Throughout the years, Lixia had received numerous gifts of money, silver, and various other treasures, all totaling at least 1,000 taels of silver. As for Songshi, he naturally presented Lixia with a generous betrothal gift. Having grown up alongside Lixia, their fondness for each other had blossomed over the years. Perhaps it was due to Lixia's close relationship with Xiao, but regardless, Song's affection for her was genuine. In order to preserve Lixia's dignity, he spared no expense in his offerings. Apart from a few token items like wine, snacks, and candied plums, Xiao held nothing back, ensuring that every gift was bestowed upon Lixia with love and care. Xiao and Xiao Yunduan possessed a plethora of properties in An's province. Even if Xiao Yunduan didn't hold an official position there, someone would still need to manage these estates. Songshi might even visit occasionally. Thus, they decided to acquire a house in An's province. The property wasn't extravagant, occupying less than 2 mu of land. It comprised a dozen or so well-built houses, with a spacious backyard that could easily be transformed into a charming garden. What made this residence truly remarkable was its proximity to the state government office, providing unparalleled convenience for Xiao Yunduan and Lixia to commute between their home and work. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2016. Lixia gets married. Given their busy schedules, Xiao and Xiao Yunduan enlisted the help of a maid and a valet to manage household tasks. Additionally, they hired a kitchen maid to tend to cooking and laundry duties. In the latter part of the previous year, Songshi had diligently overseen the renovation of their new home, ensuring it was ready for Lixia's wedding. The festivities surrounding Lixia's nuptials were joyous and spirited, drawing envy from both the staff within the state office and residents of An's prefecture city. The abundance of dowry items far surpassed anything seen in even the wealthiest households. The wives of the state office clerks couldn't help but feel envious and resentful. They knew that when their own daughters married in the future, they wouldn't hold a candle to Lixia, a mere maid. The prefect's wife had been exceedingly generous. As Lixia bid farewell to the pavilion, tears welled in her eyes as she bowed deeply to Xiao and Xiao Yunduan, expressing her heartfelt gratitude. Back when she was purchased from the human broker by her master, Lixia had only dared to hope for an existence free from beatings and scoldings. Who could have imagined that such a day would dawn upon her? Following her marriage, Lixia assumed the role of Qiao Xian's wife while still managing household affairs. Qiao Xian also broached the topic with Mian and Yi, expressing her desire to arrange weddings for them as well. However, Mian expressed a reluctance to marry just yet, preferring to continue working for a few more years. Qiao Xian respected her wishes and conceded with a smile, assuring her that she could marry whenever she felt ready. Despite their unmarried status, it was widely acknowledged that Mian and Yi were a couple. Yi, being straightforward, didn't seem bothered by the delay. He would likely wait patiently, even if it meant another 10 years. As for Lixia, although he showed no inclination towards marriage, his age indicated that he could only remain unmarried for another 2 years at most. Meanwhile, despite the gradual accumulation of experience by Kaihua, Kaiyue, and others, the household still faced a shortage of manpower. Continuing her efforts to bolster the household, Qiao Xian purchased 3 12-year-old girls named Xiaoman, Dongji, and Xiaoxue. Following Lixia's marriage, not only Lixia but also Kaiyun and Kaiyue suddenly found themselves inundated with suitors. Qiao Xian couldn't help but feel torn between laughter and tears at the sudden surge of attention. Yet, such reactions were only natural. Even families of moderate wealth might not offer the same lavish dowry as Lixia's. It was inevitable that many would be tempted. Beyond the dowry, the savings and possessions accumulated over time were not insignificant either. Qiao Xian found herself cautioning Lixia and the other girls not to be swayed by sweet words from men. Marriage was on the horizon for them, and they deserved substantial dowries just like Lixia. Lixia had followed Qiao Xian through thick and thin, and even Kaiyun and Kaiyue had amassed considerable dowries. Given these circumstances, it was difficult to discern whether suitors were drawn to the individuals themselves or their wealth. At the very least, the girls needed to carefully assess each suitor, considering not only their intentions but also the dynamics within the suitor's family. Compatibility with potential in-laws was just as crucial as the character of the suitor. At the very least, a suitor shouldn't be a troublemaker, right? Qiao Xian cautioned Lixia and the others against being swayed into marriage hastily. Regretting such a decision later on would be too late. Her words resonated with Lixia and the others, who immediately regained their clarity of mind. In mid-June, Lu Changming and Song Guangyao sent word that the results of the spring quarter examinations were in. Lord Xiao's cousin, Xiao Lulang, had achieved the status of an intermediate advanced scholar. Having received the 8th grade doctorate in 5 sutras from the Hanlin Academy, he was now considered to have established himself in the capital. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2017. Not lucky. Lord Xiao, renowned for his expertise in the 5 sutras, deliberately maintained a low profile, never alluding to his connection with Xiao Yunduan. Few were aware that he was Xiao Yunduan's cousin. He made no mention of his hometown, Xiaoding village in Yuzhang Heshan County, opting instead to reference Yuzhang alone. It appeared he wished to sever all ties with Xiao Yunduan. Furthermore, it seemed he was cultivating closer ties with the 4th Prince's circle. Had it not been for the letter from Lu Changming and Song Guangyao, Xiao Yunduan might have dismissed it all as a jest. While Xiao Yunduan had cautioned Zhao Shu against prying too deeply in the capital, it didn't mean he was indifferent to its affairs. Zhao Shu, despite his wealth, was not adept at scheming. His conspicuous activity in the capital could draw unwanted attention and trouble. Before departing, Xiao Yunduan had instructed Lu Changming and others to keep a watchful eye on certain individuals, urging vigilance and caution. He emphasized the importance of maintaining a distance from potentially risky alliances. The news of Xiao Lulang's intermediate status left Xiao Yunduan incredulous. "It's hard to believe," he remarked, not out of disdain for Xiao Lulang, but out of a keen understanding of his cousin's capabilities. Xiao Lulang had barely scraped through as the last among the recommended candidates. If he were to attempt the exam again, it was doubtful he'd even secure an intermediate status, let alone achieve the rank of advanced scholar. Xiao Yunduan knew this all too well. It seemed implausible that Xiao Lulang had attained such a prestigious title based solely on his abilities. When Lu Changming and the others mentioned Xiao Lulang's proximity to the fourth prince, Xiao Yunduan's suspicions were confirmed. So, that was the crux of the matter. It was likely that the fourth prince had orchestrated Xiao Lulang's elevation to advanced scholar, not out of genuine recognition of his talents, but as a calculated move to exert control over him. Xiao Yunduan couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. It appeared his cousin had unwittingly become a pawn in a much larger game. The uncertainty of the future necessitated preparedness. To the fourth prince, Xiao Lulang was merely an advanced scholar, a pawn easily manipulated. His placement in the capital could serve the prince's agenda in unforeseen ways. Xiao Yunduan couldn't shake off his disgust. He hastily instructed Lu Changming and the others to closely monitor Xiao Ling. If he acted recklessly, they were authorized to intervene and teach him a lesson to curb his audacity. Despite his reservations, Xiao Yunduan couldn't remove Xiao Lulang from his position in the intermediate school or at Hanlin Academy. It came as no surprise to Xiao Yunduan that Xiao Lulang hadn't mentioned him. He likely feared being implicated in any misdeeds. Xiao Xian shared Xiao Yunduan's astonishment. She hadn't anticipated her husband's misjudgment. When word of this reaches third uncle and third aunt-in-law, they'll be insufferably smug, remarked Xiao Yunduan with a sneer. Indeed, he continued sarcastically, look at their accomplished son, flourishing in the capital. He's surpassed me by leaps and bounds. Xiao Xian chuckled in agreement. Let them revel in their pride for now. It'll be satisfying to see them fall from their pedestal in a few years. Xiao Yunduan's expression hardened. Indeed, that's unlikely. Xiao Xian's smile widened. Then let's watch and wait. Instruct Lu Changming and the others to keep a close watch on him and prevent any missteps. Xiao Yunduan nodded. Agreed. Let's observe from a distance. It was likely that the fourth prince had taken Xiao Lulang under his wing in the capital. As long as he remained there, the prince could assign him a minor role and keep him under his thumb. If needed, he could be utilized in the future. And if not, the prince wouldn't incur any losses. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2018, Green Smoke from the Ancestral Grave. In such circumstances, Xiao Lulang seemed inconsequential. While living in the capital held some significance, making a name for himself appeared unattainable. Yet, Xiao Yunduan found himself unexpectedly longing for him, despite their time apart. Word swiftly spread to the village that Xiao Lulang had ascended to the rank of advanced scholar and secured a position at the prestigious Hanlin Academy. With the finesse of the spring and autumn brush, he penned a letter bearing auspicious tidings. Of course, he omitted his own achievement as an advanced scholar. Such humility was customary. To the villagers, the distinction of an advanced scholar might have been unfamiliar, but the stature of scholars was widely known. He couldn't risk losing face. In his missive, he merely conveyed his success in the advanced scholar examination and his commendation by esteemed figures, leading to his tenure at the Imperial Forest Academy in the capital. He casually remarked on the exclusivity of Hanlin Academy, where only a select few, numbering no more than 20, were admitted each spring examination, all of them notably exceptional. Initially intending to return to his hometown to honor his ancestors, he explained that his duties at the apex demanded his undivided attention, leaving no room for a homecoming. Official matters, after all, took precedence. Shouting Village erupted into excitement once more. The Xiao family is truly blessed. Yes, their luck knows no bounds. Who would have thought Xiao Lulang would rise to the ranks of an advanced scholar? And to stay in the capital as an official, esteemed by both leaders and nobles. His future is boundless, surpassing even Mr. Primus. Indeed, once he's an official, the comparisons will shift. Many advanced scholars have brighter prospects than Primus. Third uncle and Ms. Ma are already dreaming of a prosperous future. Comparisons can be infuriating indeed. Meanwhile, third uncle and Ms. Ma practically floated with pride, their happiness palpable. They practically skipped along, grinning from ear to ear. They were extremely ostentatious in the village and kept saying, I always knew our Lulang would make us proud. He's truly a success now, huh? Our Lulang has had wits since he was a child. Even back in the academy, Master often sung his praises. That's no exaggeration. It's a shame, really. I miss our Lulang dearly. If only he could come back. But with the nobles and higher-ups valuing him so much, they're keeping him for something big. So, business takes precedence. This time around, they were more cunning. They extolled their own virtues without dragging Xiao Yunduan into it. Yet, their haughty demeanors spoke volumes. They had no desire to compete with the main branch of the family or Xiao Yunduan. After all, Xiao Yunduan couldn't hold a candle to them. Who else had they heard of being esteemed by the leader? When Tao Tao married Zhao Shu, they weren't as envious or resentful. Their son was already a high-ranking official in the capital, with a far brighter future than Xiao Yunduan's. They had no need to worry about Daoist's family. Xiaoji was marrying into an official's household. Being an official's wife wouldn't be easy. Thankfully, they hadn't let go of Daoist's family affairs in the past. And they couldn't afford to do so now. They needed to swiftly dispatch a letter to Lulang. Finding a suitable family for Xiaoji in the capital was paramount. The second section of the family of the Xiao family was so annoyed. Ms. Niu and second Unruly kept scolding their son and daughter-in-law, but they did not like them at all. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2019, Ms. Fang disregarded this and us. Niu and second uncle berated their two sons as useless for not attending school. They pointed fingers at the main branch of the family, accusing them of favoritism. Why didn't Xiao Lulang ensure his own sons received an education like he did? If he had, our boys might be esteemed scholars by now. Xiao Erlang and Xiao Silang felt utterly demoralized. What had they done to deserve constant scolding and trouble? But studying wasn't something they excelled at, no matter how much envy they harbored. After finishing their tirade against their sons and daughters-in-law, Ms. Niu and second uncle turned their attention to Xianwen, pressuring him to work harder. Their sons were beyond redemption. They would have to pin their hopes on their grandchildren now. But how could Xianwen endure such suffering? His protests echoed through the courtyard. Life in the second branch of the family's household was filled with the sounds of children being reprimanded and punished daily. Despite Xiao Lulang's absence for ancestral rites, third uncle and Ms. Ma decided to host a lavish banquet to celebrate. However, this posed a slight dilemma. When Xiao Lulang first arrived in the capital, he essentially depleted their household funds to ease his transition. While their family still lived comfortably, their coffers were noticeably lighter. Hosting a lavish banquet seemed out of reach. Unperturbed by formality, they approached the main branch of the family with a sense of righteousness. After all, Lulang was also a nephew of the main branch. His success would undoubtedly benefit them too. And Lulang's prospects far outshone those of Xiao Yunduan. They planned to seek Yunduan out, relying on Lulang to provide for them. Given the main branch's ample resources, it was only natural for them to foot the bill for the celebration. Ms. Fang felt no envy as she observed the couple's jubilant antics around the village. She found it rather amusing. Instead, she used them as a cautionary tale for her own children and their spouses. Never become so arrogant as to forget your roots. Xiao Lulang wouldn't get far in his career with parents like that. They couldn't be a burden to Xiao Yunduan, but Ms. Fang wasn't about to let them off the hook so easily, especially when they had such a grand scheme in mind. As the elder aunt and uncle of Xiao Lulang, it was expected that Ms. Fang and eldest uncle would offer him financial support as a gift. By rural standards, presenting him with 3 taels of silver would be considered quite substantial. With a gleeful demeanor, Ms. Fang generously offered 50 taels of silver to the affluent family. No matter where the money came from, she knew she would be praised for her generosity. Though the third branch may have desired more, they couldn't press further. Money didn't just materialize out of thin air from the main branch. As for whether Xiao Yunduan would require Xiao Lulang's assistance in the future, Ms. Fang couldn't care less about that. The future would sort itself out in due time. When the day arrived, the main branch would naturally seek assistance if needed. Until then, there was no cause for concern. These words were intended to silence the third branch. Ms. Fang had never considered Xiao Lulang a dependable individual. Growing impatient, she instructed them to seek assistance from the second section of the family. Isn't the second section of the family benefiting as well? Ms. Ma pointed out, her tone laced with frustration. Honestly, they don't have any officials in their family and need your protection even more. You should go to their family and ask for money. This suggestion infuriated Ms. Niu and third uncle. Ms. Niu's anger was palpable as she shot a piercing glare at Ms. Ma, causing the latter to falter in her attempt to boast. Before Ms. Ma could utter another word, she was abruptly cut off by Ms. Niu. It would suffice if the second branch of the family offered a modest gift, Ms. Niu retorted sharply. Why would they be expected to provide funds for a banquet? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2020. Anyone would get tired of it since the second branch of the family wasn't forthcoming with assistance, and Ms. Fang wasn't cooperating. Ms. Ma and third uncle begrudgingly accepted the 50 taels from Ms. Fang and added another 10 taels to fund the banquet. Hosting a banquet for 60 taels of silver was already quite a feat for country folk. Yet, Ms. Ma and third uncle couldn't shake off their disappointment, knowing it paled in comparison to the grandeur of Xiao Yunduan's hometown banquet. All they could do now was wait. When Lu Lang returned in the future, they vowed to make it up to him. No matter how festive, every celebration had its end. The banquet of the third branch came and went, and well-wishes abounded. Gradually, people returned to their own lives, paying less attention to the matter. But not Ms. Ma and third uncle. The couple appeared intoxicated with joy, parading around with their heads held high, eagerly awaiting flattery and praise. Initially, others indulged them, offering compliments out of courtesy. They feigned envy and admiration, playing along with their charade. But such flattery grew tiresome over time. Eventually, even the most patient souls would tire of it. However, Xiao Lilang's high-ranking status in the capital's hierarchy made him untouchable, dissuading anyone from offending him easily. Consequently, when others spotted Ms. Ma and third uncle from a distance, they conveniently averted their gaze, lowered their heads, and hastened away. Noticing the avoidance, Ms. Ma and third uncle grew increasingly irked, venting their frustrations in private. Their most common refrain was the wait-and-see series. They vowed that when Lu Lang returned, none of these people would dare to approach him if he had the power. And if they had the means, they wouldn't need to rely on their family's support in the future. Meanwhile, at the main branch of the family, Xiao Yunduan dispatched someone to fetch Ms. Fang and eldest uncle for a brief visit at the end of June. Ecstatic, Ms. Fang and eldest uncle couldn't contain their joy. Of course, they would eagerly accept the invitation to their son's abode. The entire family accompanied them, leaving only a caretaker and Chunyu behind to tend to the household. Before departing, Ms. Fang instructed the land officer to look after their affairs and reminded the housekeeper to defer to the main branch's authority, ensuring no decisions were made without their consent. If anyone dared to stir up trouble, they would seek justice from the land officer, a clear indication of their vigilance against the third branch of the family. It was evident that they were wary of potential disruptions from the third branch, as they were the only ones audacious enough to instigate conflicts with the main branch. Unless eldest uncle passed away one day, the animosity from the third branch would continue unabated, resulting in occasional flare-ups. They couldn't seem to learn their lesson. When Xiao Yunduan sent for them, the entire first branch of the Xiao family eagerly packed their belongings and embarked on the journey with 2 large carriages, one for the maids and the other for Xiao Yunduan and Xiaoxian. Accompanied by 10 mounted guards, they set out. This spectacle evoked envy and admiration from the villagers. Those who had once believed Xiao Lulang held more promise than Xiao Yunduan underwent a change of heart. They now saw the superiority of Xiao Yunduan. After all, he was the primus. When he returned to his hometown to honor his ancestors, it would undoubtedly be a grand affair. Having served as an official in the capital and now serving as a local magistrate, he was accruing valuable experience. It was only a matter of time before he ascended to a higher position in the capital. Moreover, the fact that his parents dispatched so many people to fetch his family back suggested they were in good spirits and enjoying prosperity. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2021. Still unruly in comparison, Xiao Lulang seemed significantly inferior. Third uncle and Ms. Ma, known for their propensity to stretch the truth, especially Ms. Ma with her loquacious nature, found themselves biting their tongues. How much of what they claimed was genuine? It seemed that if Xiao Lulang scored 1 point, the couple would undoubtedly award him 10. With this realization, they no longer feared them. However, Ms. Ma and third uncle grew agitated once more. The arrival of Ms. Fang in An's province promised to bring a lively atmosphere. Unexpectedly in July, Zhao Shu arrived with Tao Tao. This was the epitome of a harmonious family. Ms. Fang and eldest uncle were elated. Tao Tao was equally surprised and overjoyed. Zhao Shu reveled in the company of others and radiated happiness. The back office's eastern courtyard in An's province buzzed with liveliness. Meanwhile, Zhao Shu took Tao Tao to pay respects to their ancestors at the Zhao family's ancestral home. To Zhao Mu's dismay, Zhao Shu brought along Ms. Qin. Despite Zhao Mu's irritation, Zhao Shu didn't neglect him and introduced him to Tao Tao, addressing Zhao Mu as uncle. As for Ms. Qin, being a mere concubine, Zhao Shu didn't even spare her a glance, let alone an introduction. Zhao Mu was seething with rage. However, Zhao Mu was keen to save face, so he refrained from speaking out. Ms. Qin, on the other hand, wasn't as reserved. She erupted in anger on the spot, exclaiming, "He's your biological father." Zhao Shu, growing impatient, interrupted her sharply. "Your family is still so unruly. Is a concubine worthy of interrupting? If she were in our residence, such unruliness would have been disciplined long ago. And I have only one father. If anyone doubts it, they can take it up with the patriarch." What about you? Uncle, your concubine truly lacks decorum. How dare she speak out of turn? If she continues disregarding propriety, she'll sow discord in the family and breed chaos. Who's to say she won't deteriorate further in the future? Uncle, are you going to let this slide? Zhao Mu seethed in silence. Ms. Qin seethed too, but dared not voice her discontent. She knew that if she spoke, Zhao Shu would promptly cut her off with the word concubine, denying her a chance to finish her thoughts. This despicable man. Truly despicable. With a contemptuous glance at Zhao Mu, Zhao Shu sneered before departing with Tao Tao. Finally, Zhao Shu grasped the situation. It was evident that Zhao Mu had grumbled about why Ms. Qin accompanied them. There were certain things he couldn't voice due to his concern for saving face, but Ms. Qin didn't share his reservations. Ms. Qin was shameless and lacking in intelligence. She didn't hesitate to speak her mind, though she seldom had the opportunity to do so as Zhao Shu always cut her off. Zhao Shu's generosity towards the patriarch's wife, and the elders increased by 20%. This gesture elicited widespread happiness, with everyone regarding him and Tao Tao with utmost warmth and affection. The ancestral worship proceeded smoothly, and Tao Tao's name was duly added to the records. As for Zhao Mu, his status as Zhao Shu's biological father proved futile. The sex laws were immutable, and since Zhao Shu had been formally adopted, he no longer bore any relation to Zhao Mu. There was no way for Zhao Mu to exert control over him. Everyone conveniently ignored Zhao Shu's decree. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2022. Scheming Zhao Mu was so infuriated that he nearly spat blood. Unable to bear it any longer, Ms. Qin wept for Zhao Mu. Yet, without a word from Zhao Shu, all the respected ladies and aunts in the clan hurled insults at her. Even Zhao Mu received a stern reprimand from the clan elders. Clearly, he hadn't learned his lesson. Not only had he brought a concubine to such a significant occasion, but this concubine also dared to criticize the Zhao family. Who gave her, a mere concubine, the audacity to do so? What had gotten into Zhao Mu? Did he intend to continue bringing shame upon the family? If their decline persisted, what would be left of them? Ms. Qin's face flushed with alternating shades of red and white. She felt a surge of humiliation and resentment bubbling up inside her, urging her to scream and curse. Among those who criticized her, many were familiar faces. When her old master was still the wealthiest man in Yangzhou, none of them dared to call her a concubine. They all smiled and spoke respectfully to her. They addressed her as Madame Qin. But now, they turned on her faster than the changing tides. Who were they to judge her? Naturally, Zhao Mu didn't dare to oppose the entire clan. He could only swallow his pride, publicly apologize, and chastise Ms. Qin. Yet under Zhao Shu's watchful and seemingly amused gaze, Zhao Mu felt his blood boil, his face burning with shame. Yet, Zhao Mu remained adamant about not returning to his own abode. Of course, he had brought Ms. Qin here for the sake of Zhao Shu and Tao Dao. He had hoped that Zhao Shu would exhibit greater maturity and wisdom after marriage, allowing them to have a heartfelt conversation. After all, they were father and son by blood. However, Zhao Mu hadn't anticipated that Zhao Shu would still retain his fiery temper. Regret gnawed at Zhao Mu incessantly. He should have taken Zhao Shu under his wing instead of allowing Madame Zheng to raise him. He ought to have imparted his wisdom personally. Aside from Zhao Shu's speculated motives, there was another reason for bringing Ms. Qin along, to foster a bond between her and Tao Dao. From Zhao Mu's perspective, Xiao Taotao was merely a humble country girl. Zhao Shu had wedded her solely because her brother ascended to the primus position. What did she understand? Ms. Qin possessed a silver tongue and wisdom. If she applied herself, she could surely win over Xiao Taotao. And if she could win over Xiao Taotao, Zhao Shu would heed his counsel. Thus, Ms. Qin brainstormed ways to connect with Tao Dao. Tao Dao didn't want to see her at first, but she couldn't stop pestering her, so Tao Dao saw her. He might as well meet her and make her give up so that he could get some peace and quiet. Indeed, Ms. Qin had given up after seeing him. The countryside girl was not easy to coax at all. She was as annoying as Zhao Shu and kept saying that she had no respect for him. Concubines made her blood boil. In the end, her anger turned into anger. She couldn't take it anymore and mocked Tao Dao. Tao Dao asked someone to slap her face. Not only did Ms. Qin receive a slap, but she was also escorted by someone to lodge a complaint with the patriarch's wife, resulting in another reprimand. Even Zhao Mu wasn't spared. Both of them left, seething with indignation. Meanwhile, Zhao Shu was elated. He lingered in the capital with Tao Dao for a while, introducing her to their relatives and paying respects to their elders. Following these formalities, they returned to Jiangnan before heading to An's province. Unrestrained and carefree with Tao Dao by his side, Zhao Shu decided they would spend the Mid-Autumn Festival with Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan in An's province. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible.